According to this paranormal investigator, a genie cursed him in his own voice. Let's enter this haunted home. While speaking to the spirits of the place, he hears an EVP.
Buradaki varlık kendini belli etsin. Bir işaret versin. Buradaki yaşayan insanları kaçıran varlık kendini belli etsin.
When he walks into the kitchen, something disturbing happens. And then the spirit gets aggressive, but nothing is inside the room.
Bana bir iş yapmışsın.
When he enters the bedroom, he sees it. But as he gets closer and closer, is this a magic trick? Well, it could be the genie himself performing a practical joke. I could also see how this could be faked, but then again, the knocking. Only a genie could disappear like this. Dust up. This one's a head scratcher. Redditor FAKHAMNK shares this mysterious video that has skeptics questioning everything. Just watch. For context, the Redditor is a skeptic and just moved into this home. This same thing happened twice, about 20 minutes apart around 2 a.m. Watch again. The more you watch it, the harder it is to figure out, unless you're these Redditors in the comments who apparently know exactly what's happening. Others think it's vape, and still others think it's fake. But the Redditor says they've also been hearing weird noises and seeing things out of the corner of their eye. So who do you trust? Reddit commenters or the Redditor who posted this footage? In my opinion, to come to a full conclusion, we're gonna need more footage. Number 8. This giant statue was once caught in Vietnam. A huge group of villagers form a long line up a mountainside to catch a glimpse. The person hangs back and zooms in as much as their camera allows. First, they all start singing at 1 minute and 54 seconds. And by 2 minutes and 24 seconds, the giant statue has apparently come to life. Translate if you can. At 2 minutes and 33 seconds, the statue seems to extend an arm out and gently embraces the crowd. But now the cameraman is in tears as he and his family watch the stone robes become soft and weightless as they flap like angelic wings. Did her stone robes really turn into fabric, or was something put over her? I think if this was a sheet, then everyone would notice and no one would be impressed. At 3 minutes and 58 seconds, you can see a hand just barely peek out from under the robe as it gives a modest wave. By 4 minutes and 35 seconds, the mysterious waving hand is gone. The statue has returned back to normal and does not move again. Off body. Are zombies real? Redditor Coyote Basic poses this question to the Reddit community alongside this video.
Bapa kami dalam surga di kudus nama mulia lagi dan mulia lagi nak dimuliakan surga Tuhan Yesus. Bapa kami dalam surga di roh tolong Tuhan Yesus. Bapa kami kuang kali Bapa kami ya saudara sama ini kita baku dapat di jalan mata pondok sehingga ada kepala cuma batas badang saja.
I don't know if this could even be considered a zombie. It is absolutely disgusting though. The feet are still moving while the body appears sliced clean in half, but some aren't buying it. While I agree that this looks unrealistic, I don't know how this was done, and I could do without the French onion soup reference. I think I gotta throw up now. Number 20. Imagine traveling down a busy city street when suddenly cars, buildings, and even the sidewalk starts to rumble beneath your feet. That's exactly what happened to the South Asian country of Nepal in 2017. Onlookers watch in horror as power lines snap and spark on the roads. Everyone scatters for cover only to find there is nowhere to run when the earth itself is the problem. Meanwhile, store interiors become absolute chaos as heavy items clatter to the ground from the shelves and entire aisles topple over. The very foundation of the building itself threatens to collapse under the immense shaking. Watch again and you'll see this brave woman pick up her child seconds before a cascading avalanche of items would have surely crushed him. It's amazing how quickly someone can become a hero with barely a moment's thought. Would you be able to sleep after seeing this? Posted to the Paranormal Evidence subreddit by cardiologist Wary306, this short clip was captured at 2:30 in the morning. The mysterious footage shows a semi-transparent figure walking from one wall of the room into what appears to be a bookcase, where it disappears. The figure looks obscure at first but grows in visibility before completing its vanishing act. The Redditor says that around 3 a.m. they often hear a conversation between a woman and a man in the bathroom. They've seen shadow people in the home, things being thrown across the room, lights have shut off, whispers in the ear. All in all, a heavy atmosphere. The activity is too much to bear. And here's yet more of it. Many in the comments believe it's a spirit manifesting. Do you believe that's the case? Sometimes paranormal explorations turn up horrific discoveries. YouTuber Mo Sargi uncovered several in this abandoned hospital. While walking through the hospital's hallways, he comes across defunct tech and discarded medical supplies.
The younger people that watch my videos, which is a small percentage, yeah, this is what we would watch and open up applications and stuff. It's pretty cool. Oh, ew, we got blood covered gloves over here. This is disgusting.
This room looks like it's been staged by someone before Mo.
We got blood everywhere. Holy sh**. Jeez, okay, I don't want to be in this room, that's gross.
On the wall in red is the word leave. Then in the next room.
Is that a body bag? No, that's not a body bag. I thought that was a body bag for a sec. Jesus Christ. No, that's just a mattress. It's so strange though. It's got like these pipes coming down from it.
He breaks out the UV light to check out the fluids on this hospital bed.
So as you guys can see, I do have my UV light over here, and this is all blood. Holy sh**. This is literally, there's blood everywhere in this room, man. This is unbelievable. I did not expect this. I don't know why there's so much blood here, but look at it. Look at how it illuminates.
While we can't be sure that this is that red liquid of life, this place is by far one of the creepiest abandoned places I've ever seen. iMade has braved his past through many supernatural situations in the past and expects exploring this haunted place will be no different. He reaches the top without problem. Leaving the haunted building, however, is not so easy.
أعوذ بكلمات الله التامة أعوذ بكلمات الله التامة من شر ما خلق أعوذ بكلمات الله التامة من شر ما خلق.
At 7 minutes and 40 seconds, a shadow person. He loses sight of the figure, but it's back soon enough.
محمد أعوذ بكلمات الله التامة من شر ما خلق أعوذ بكلمات الله التامة من شر ما خلق أعوذ بكلمات الله التامة من شر ما خلق.
And if you're wondering why the scream sounded so close, I think it's because the shadow person might have actually been standing right next to him at 11 minutes and 52 seconds to let loose in his ear. Undeterred, the Urbex explorer pursues the shadow person deeper into the haunted place.
هاد المونيكا عاوتاني هنايا وتتحرك، اقسم بالله حتى كتحرك. اعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. 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 راه هي الاخوان. اعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
Creepy dolls are moving on their own, and scary voices are screaming from the darkness. The shadow figure is leading him somewhere sinister.
اعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. شوفوا الخوت، شنو هادشي هذا؟ أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد.
Everyone has their limit when it comes to paranormal activity, and iMaid seems to have reached his. Alone and outnumbered, he flees the spirits screaming before they make him join their silent ranks. I think that the scream might be an audio sample because it sounds the same every time, so maybe this video, however bizarre, isn't real after all. A group of friends are heading down the road. When they think they see something in the distance, they silently observe a small figure standing motionless just barely within sight. Listen to this part and translate if you can. Finally, they decide to take their chances and barrel past. Look closely and you'll see that the highway phantom is cloaked in a single white sheet. The stranger remains motionless as the bike passes, not even putting their hands up to protect themselves. This bizarrely calm reaction is not ordinary. It makes me think that this was in fact a real highway ghost encounter. This video of a mysterious creature was published to YouTube by Real Ghost Official 007 in December of 2019. The video, taken in the lot of a gas station, shows a slender, spindly limbed creature standing on two legs. It is momentarily caught by the headlights of a passing vehicle before it darts off out of sight. It looks somewhat similar to the creature in a TikTok video that's coming up on this list. Perhaps it's of the same mysterious breed. It makes sense to me, but I guess it could be something else altogether. Do you have any other explanations? It's enough to keep me indoors. This man approaches a home, stands in place for 10 seconds without ringing or knocking, and then decides to rip the doorbell cam straight out of the wall for good measure. Notice how he pulls up his sleeves over his hands before doing so. Obviously, he is worried about leaving fingerprints, so he probably does stuff like this all of the time. My guess is that he wanted to get into the house when he noticed the doorbell cam and got scared. He probably thought that by taking the doorbell cam, he would get rid of any evidence that he was ever there, completely unaware that a live video gets sent straight to the person's phone automatically. This video was posted in November of 2018. So far, he has not been caught, but since the doorbell cams have a serial number, he can't resell it easily without getting busted. If you're about to blame some nighttime mischief on your pet, hold off for a hot minute and watch this. Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit, Bartonall writes that his cat has been knocking things over at night for the past few weeks and waking them up, which is unlike him because he's a quiet cat during the day. So they set up a surveillance camera to try and catch him in the act. This is what they found. The first segment shows something fluttering the leaves of this flower on the table, but we know it's not the cat because he passes by the couch to the left. Later, as the cat is sitting on the couch, a dish towel falls from the fridge. Then an object is heard moving in the kitchen, and a close-up reveals the thing jiggling on its own on the counter. At the same time, a strange shadow appears on the front of the counter, although it's not clear if it's the cat being alerted to the sound or something else. Soon after, another object falls loudly from the countertop. Thus, we cannot see too well, nor do we know where the cat is. Then, after a strange orb moves through the scene, something else moves on the counter and is pushed to fall to the floor, all while the cat is perched on the table far away, watching. Then another object falls loudly next to it, which scares even the cat. This one wakes the owner up, who calls his cat a pain, but after watching the video in the morning, we're sure he regrets that. Was this cat, as some Redditors suggest, just protecting her owner at night? While exploring Penha Palace in Sintra, Portugal, a tourist was frightened by a mysterious creature. YouTuber YB Normal shares this scary video taken during this tourist's exploration of the grounds. What is this thing? To me, it almost looks like a gorilla, but what would a gorilla be doing outside of a zoo in Portugal? Several in the comments believe it's a panther or a jaguar, but as far as I know, neither are native to Portugal. Unless there are big cats on the loose in this public park, I think it's possible that it's some unknown creature. A TikTok user named Look Desions For You is obsessed with summoning spirits, and this time it really might have worked. He says something in the mirror, and then this wide-eyed fiend appears right behind him, only to vanish when he turns around. At first it looks like it might have been somebody standing on the other side of the mirror, but when the light hits them, you can tell they are both in the same room. Later, he is looking down a hall through a hole in the door, where the knob once was. I want you to remember the unique shape of this water pattern, because it is going to be important later. Okay, so he is looking down the hall. A second look through the hole reveals nothing, and when he turns around, he is shocked to find he is in the exact same hall he was just looking down. Water pattern and all, it's like he teleported. Om is a popular YouTuber from Delhi, India, who for 2 years has been steadily growing his channel Om Vlogs. At first, he would do normal things like go to a museum or an amusement park, but about a year ago, he started to get into ghost hunting. Now, he goes on ghost hunting explorations all the time, and they are really good. Delhi has a population of about 30 million people, so we are talking about a single city with as many people as the whole state of Texas, which means plenty of places to explore and plenty of ghosts to be found. So recently, Om Vlogs went to a building that was so cursed he wouldn't say the name of it or where it was, only that it was a restaurant in his hometown where something horrendous happened that made them close down and never reopen. On May 13th of 2020, they visit it for the first time, or at least try to. They don't get far because a presence guarding the area won't let them go inside. They stay at what they mistake for a safe distance and peer in. There's a light that's orange here at 8 minutes and 9 seconds coming from an otherwise dark room. They don't see anything else and chance a closer look. Om is talking more about the place when a mysterious shadow descends the wall at 12 minutes and 23 seconds. A minute later, they learn beyond a doubt that something is inside.
आवाज देखिए आवाज़ ही नहीं देखी। ये देख उधर की ईंट निकल गई है।
His friend is standing next to him, so it's not him. They dare not enter, but they stick around for a bit longer. At 15 minutes and 22 seconds, a single pixel goes white while recording a room on the second floor. When they zoom out, the light mysteriously goes away, but not before more black shapes pass over it. By now, it's getting late, so Ohm is wrapping up the video when he senses something watching him and points out a shadow figure that only he can see in person. It doesn't show up on camera, at least not that I can see, but you should remember this area for later because things are about to ramp up. Apparently whatever is in there is not happy to see them again when they return a few weeks later. This time a white-robed figure with a demonic head and two horns leans on the brick wall as if taunting them to try and go in, which they don't notice and proceed to do. They shine their light into a blown-out window and eyes waverly reflect at 7 minutes and 5 seconds. The restaurant is obviously no longer taking reservations. They stand and brace themselves for whatever comes next, and when nothing happens, they decide to explore a few rooms before returning to the main area. As they think about whether to leave or not, a terrible feeling washes over them, and their camera goes out of focus like something is near, and it is. Ohm puts his hand up to shield the group from something they can't see but we can. At 10 minutes and 58 seconds, it's coincidental standing in the exact same place where Ohm thought he saw something the first time. The building becomes more displeased with each passing moment.
तो कुछ आप क्या कुछ ऐसा करके दिखा सकते हो?
But when they go into the room to leave, its guardian is absolutely gone. I guess it knew they were leaving and letting them pass without harm. And I think I heard a fire alarm at 11 minutes and 18 seconds, even though the place clearly doesn't have one. I suspect it once burnt down. And what you heard was paranormal residual energy from the event. Ohm never does reveal the location, but there is a comment left by someone who thought they recognized the location, and I thought this was interesting. If someone could please confirm that this location is on the Cardinal Bypass Road in Delhi, that would be helpful, and tell us anything else you know about its haunted history. At around 3 a.m. on April 12, 2010, this strange apparition was captured on the security camera of a bar and grill in Las Cruces, New Mexico during closing hours, published by Ghost Investigations New Mexico in April of 2010. The crew slowed the frame-by-frame to 1/8 speed and shot video of the bar's security monitor. What they captured does indeed look like a floating head. In the regular shot, it appears to flash in and out quite quickly, while in the frame-by-frame, it looks like it actually flew out of sight. You can make out the eyes, nose, and mouth, and ears of the head's face, but it doesn't appear to have a body. There was no one inside the bar and grill at this hour. So what is this thing? Is it the face of a spirit? Where did its body go? Multiple instances of objects moving on their own has a YouTuber named Callum Tonner convinced that his Seattle house is haunted by a fearsome poltergeist. Lots of bizarre activity is frequently caught on camera, so I'm going to analyze the top 5 videos of best paranormal evidence. In the first weird video, he claims to find a coat hanger swinging back and forth in the closet. I will say that they could have pushed the object themselves before recording and then pretended it was a ghost. Normally I would say this video is fake, except this is far from the only scary event in which objects were caught on camera moving on their own, and the other videos are much harder to explain. Later that night, with the haunted closet behind him and its doors open, a completely different object is caught moving on camera on its own.
What was that?
Even if you were moving a magnetic object under the table, I still don't think it would be strong enough to move the other objects through the heavy wooden desk. He creates the paranormal experiment again 4 nights later, and if you weren't able to tell what the 2 objects are, it's a flashlight moving across a phone that's turned on. And here's the thing, any magnetic force strong enough to move an object that large should also cause damage to the phone, which it doesn't. The phone is fine, and therefore I think a ghost is moving the flashlight. 4 more nights later, the ghost has apparently taken to shuffling through his private card collection. And even more haunting, Paranormal Activity is caught on camera without any explanation. If you were thinking that he bent the cards or something to make them fall over, but not what's happening, you can see more of the cards in this video. They look perfectly straight and evenly balanced, so tell me how these sturdy objects are caught on tape moving. Paranormal Activity is all I can think for these super creepy and mysterious events, but I'm open to any other explanation. Does the spirit of a witch still call this witch's house home? YouTuber Max from Paranormal Point is here to investigate. A Steadicam captures the wardrobe's entire collapse in the next room. It sounds like a dog is hiding somewhere in the room, along with something else. In another room, the candles are lit and a shadow figure drifts past. After performing a ritual, Max reaps his reward. The witch becomes angrier when he addresses her.
Кто ты? Ты можешь показаться? Охренеть.
A little later, this happens. Yeah, I would leave too. I think the witch is here, and she means business. A worker presses the garage door button on his way inside, but the door goes back up instead. I think the door returns to the open position as a built-in safety precaution whenever there's something wrong with the track. So if the garage door gets stuck, don't keep messing with the controls or else this could happen. Thankfully, the corner catches for a split second and gives him the few seconds he needs to avoid becoming a red stain. If it had dropped straight down, there would have been nothing for him to do. So basically, when the garage door at your job is giving you problems, always grab a supervisor, unless you want a chance of this happening to you. It's 12 in the morning when this stranger starts creeping along the side of a fence in slow and even steps, as if in a deep trance. He has an old portable radio on full volume, and he doesn't say anything, just slowly turns the knob. Occasionally, he pauses long enough to stare through the fence without saying a word. His radio does plenty of communicating though, and this part is especially weird. The radio just so happens to say something about walking away here. They reach the end of the chain link fence and nothing separates the two. The video ends with a really long stare down that the strange man easily wins. He reaches into his coat pocket for something, and the cameraman bolts for cover. A smart decision. Avery is almost 2 years old. He's happily babbling away in the kitchen when his mother starts to feel a strange presence. This has happened a few times before, so she decides to start recording. Normally, her child is very quiet, but every once in a while, he will become very active and start having a conversation with someone who neither of his parents could see.
Who are you talking to?
Avery's mother finds this behavior very perplexing, so she starts to ask him over and over who he is talking to. Finally, after the third or fourth time, she gets a sinister reply.
Who are you talking to?
Her child looks over his shoulder, almost as if someone is there. When he turns his back to her, a raspy voice says, "Ryan." Listen again with the sound up if you don't hear it. I guess this voice could be coming from Avery, but it sounds like it's coming from someplace much closer, almost right next to the camera. It almost sounds like a slightly different voice than Avery's. Maybe Ryan is a ghostly pal who is looking to make a new friend. One creepy video shows us nature can be just as cruel underwater as it is above ground. A YouTuber named Trendy Outdoorsman is exploring the ice with his brother when they look down and find a really bizarre sight. A frozen bass is somehow sticking half out of the pond. They post a picture online, and after getting a huge response, the two return to the spot to make a video. When they carve it out, their discovery gets even weirder. The fish is trapped in the jaws of a large pike. Trendy Outdoorsman thinks the pike couldn't eat the bass and floated to the top. From there, it must have floated through an old ice fishing hole, which then resealed. I have no alternative explanation, so I agree with this theory, but I was wondering if there were any other theories as to what could have caused this freaky frozen fish incident to occur. Caden Parker meets up with some friends at a local skate park and finds someone much older trying to pick arguments with everyone he sees.
Big man! Who's big man? You, right? I'm going for a sleeper.
Dude, come on. Can you just leave us alone? We're just trying to have a good time, enjoying the nice weather.
Who cares? I'm going for a sleeper.
Soon he turns his attention towards Caden and tells him he's going to put him in a submission hold if he comes down from the ramp. By now the skate park has mostly cleared out, so it's just a face-off between Caden and this angry stranger.
Dude, the police are on their way. I hope you know that.
I hope so.
We have a
I didn't insult
individual at the
skate park,
and he's trying to pick fights with little kids.
All right then. Might as well make it worth it.
Yo, tell him to send an officer ASAP.
An officer shows up right before things get any more out of hand. I really don't think this is a fake video, because the officer walks up and puts him in cuffs straight away. Apparently, he has a long history of doing this and nobody seems to be acting. After he's taken away, the park fills back up with people who are scared away. Caden Parker shows a lot of bravery standing up for them, as well as self-restraint by not stepping forward when challenged. Had this escalated, he could be in as much trouble as the person who is actually in the wrong. He did everything right in my opinion, and is allowed to enjoy the rest of his day peacefully as a result. While communicating with lost souls in the Witch's Mirror, YouTube team Toppy's session gets dark. Nastya explains where the mirror comes from.
Данное зеркало принадлежало моей покойной прабабушке. Прабабушка славилась тем, что она была шептухой.
And she begins the ritual. It sounds like something wants out of the mirror. And a shadow falls on the wall beside Nastya. The whole team comes, and through a spirit box, they ask if someone is there.
Я включаю спиритбокс. С нами кто-нибудь сейчас здесь есть?
After communicating with the spirits for a time, they leave a still camera in front of the mirror, and this is what they capture. What is this strange dark haze? Is it the spirit? I think it is. If I had to guess, I'd say this witch's mirror is a portal to the afterlife, one that shouldn't be tampered with. The Southern Arizona Ghost and Paranormal Society teams up with fellow ghost hunters, the Mission Creeps, to investigate the ever-so-haunted Oliver House in Bisbee, Arizona. 26 people are said to have lost their lives here over the years, the most famous being a man named Nat Anderson, whose wife disposed of him with 2 rounds after learning of an affair. Now gathered in the historic bedroom of the Oliver House, they call upon Nat Anderson and possibly get a response.
Somebody told us that Nat Anderson was here. Is Nat still here?
This is one of the clearest paranormal voices I've ever heard. It sounds distant, yet in the same room as them. I'm wondering if this was edited in, and I'm especially looking for the opinion of any sound technicians. Here it is one more time. Maybe it's just me, but I'm detecting a hint of sarcasm in the voice, so maybe it was Nat Anderson being funny by saying he wasn't there, or maybe it was a different ghost who is tired of this question altogether. This is said to be a real ghost video from Singapore. A woman jogs down the road when she has a creepy encounter with a stranger who may or may not be paranormal. She doesn't hear any footsteps until he is running away. It's like he was never behind, and when she looks to where he just was, he's gone. Then he passes again and things get even scarier. You could pass somebody twice like this if you ran a wide loop around them, but why he would do this and scare her is something I doubt we could ever explain. I don't think this is paranormal, but I do think acting this way is not normal. I think it's most likely a short film, but there are no credits, and it presents itself as a real ghost video caught on camera in the description. A YouTuber named Benny Loco is on a desert urban exploration in a bunch of abandoned houses that are empty, or so she thinks. She steps inside and looks to the right, no one, but standing on an opposite side of the room, under some drapes, is a silhouette that she thinks is some kind of animal figure because of these supposed ears.
Boudoir. With a bunny in the window. Creepy bunny.
But all I see is a hooded figure staring at her through a thin piece of fabric. This is one of the only times I've seen somebody laugh off a ghost sighting and not check to see what it was. All of the windows are blocked, so I guess she could be looking at a piece of cardboard or something. But since something just moved in that room and then disappeared, I have to go with paranormal activity on this one. A man is riding down a poorly lit Indian highway when they barely avoid a pedestrian who is staggering in the middle of the road. Yet when he turns around seconds later, the man is nowhere to be found. Now he is determined to find the man again. He turns back around and retraces his steps for almost a full minute. Then he realizes he's all gone, grows extremely uncomfortable and speeds away. The only non-paranormal explanation I have is that maybe the pedestrian got scared and hid when he saw the motorcycle turn back around. Let me know if you think that's what happened, or if this was a genuine highway ghost encounter. These British YouTubers are having a look around an old synagogue that hasn't been used in ages. The space is well lit, and soon they stumble upon a ladder leading to a much darker attic area. One of them bravely climbs along the wooden rafters and goes much farther out than the rest. Everything is going fine until he makes the mistake of stepping on the much weaker fluffy white insulation. He just barely catches himself and now hangs suspended from the ceiling, too stunned to scream. His upper half still in the attic and his bottom half dangling in the air. Look down the hole and you can see he's at a dizzying height. If he hadn't quickly grabbed onto the rafters for support, there would be nothing to keep him from free falling to the bottom. Chip Chan is the name given to a South Korean woman who was discovered by the website 4chan. They found her live stream one fateful day and proceeded to watch every moment of her life for years. What they found was both curious and startling. For one thing, Chip Chan would often pass out in strange positions for over 12 hours and then do things like barricade her door closed with whatever she could find. She rarely left the apartment and appeared to be in a lot of distress at all times. 4chan eventually came across her blog and found out that she thought she was being stalked by the local police. She even says that they have implanted a chip into her that allows them to control when she sleeps and how she feels. Here's a video of Chip Chan silently screaming as they supposedly activate her implants and mess with her mind. There's no evidence that any of what she is saying is real, and as of now, people either completely believe her story or else think that she has a serious mental disorder. It hasn't been on in a long time, but maybe someone can translate the text on her page and make sense of what she is saying. All in all, nobody has been able to track her down to talk with her, and her identity is unknown. All we know is that somewhere in South Korea, a woman was recording herself all of the time as a way of exposing her tormentors to the world. An unidentified aerial phenomena, also known as a UAP, was captured at Dreamland in Dripping Springs, Texas, and shared by Redditor My Brian on Acid.
Recording the alien spaceship?
Yeah, me too.
It's like not moving at all.
The uploader says another source reported on this same sighting.
And it's like way higher than the planes that just flew by. It's like further away. It's not moving at all.
Let's see if it's up there after we play.
The post the Redditor is referring to was captured by someone walking their dog who believed the UAP to be a planet, but once they looked at it through their binoculars, they noticed a dark center and a haze around the object. In the comments, Redditor Cronin Siglos appeared to crack the code, writing that it's a high-altitude balloon called an HBAL 604. After seeing one of these, I have to agree.
And it's like way higher than the planes that just flew by. It's like further away. It's not moving at all.
Poltergeist. Their haunted home had been quiet for weeks. But then the YouTube team G&D Studios took out the Halloween-themed houses called Spooky Town. Once they'd been unpacked, the poltergeist activity in their home ramped up. That literally jumped out of her hand, and it does it again. Did it slip, or is something fishy going on here? After that, she gives up. In another clip, the poltergeist becomes even more aggressive. A few minutes later, this happens. And then, even stranger, what's going on here? It looks 100% paranormal to me. And the first step to calming it is to pack up that Halloween spooky town and light it on fire. Number 20. What presence is roaming around Donna Mary's house? Published by Chris L. Luna in April of 2022, the ghost hunter captures the spirit blowing onto the scene as a seance is being done. The spirit then directly falls over those present, including the seer. A presence is again sensed in the background, and what is either a window or a mirror, something again passes by a window. As they communicate with the ghost, this appearance is more clearly visible. Do you think this is Donna Mary herself, or is some darker evil present?
Observen. Se debe de mover a fuerzas. Solo hay uno allá enfrente. Solo hay uno allá enfrente.
A YouTuber named Dark Corners is exploring the deep web when he comes across a video that he instantly regrets watching due to a possible curse. A nauseating noise forces him to take off his headphones, and even though it's in a different language, he still knows that he has witnessed something he was never meant to see. If you are able to read Japanese, please translate the text into English so we can all better understand. I just wanted to add that this long beep is exactly the same noise that hospital equipment makes when you flatline, which leads me to think that this text could be talking about ending your very life. Let me know if you think my suspicions are correct, or if I was way off with this assumption. On a trip to Thailand, YouTuber D-Doc Michael skipped the beaches and instead spent his holiday exploring this intensely haunted house. Upon entering, he hears whispers. He continues his exploration but is scared off by another voice.
어이 씨발 깜짝이야 누구야?
Still, he stays. As his search goes on, he hears another noise.
누구세요? Who are you?
And at last, he sees what's making it. The stranger in the abandoned place is ready to throw down.
Who are you? Hey!
Michael runs off, thankfully escaping unharmed. To me, this just goes to show that live humans are often scarier than spirits. The Haunted Hub is a YouTube channel that posts full paranormal investigations taken throughout England. This time they find themselves in a Victorian hospital called Thackeray, where starvation, beatings, and other extreme punishments were the norm. As the night progresses, they find themselves communicating with the spirit of a nun. One member holds a cross in front of him, and they all watch in amazement as orbs seem to follow wherever he goes.
What's in my hand? Are we walking down here?
As Tony evokes a response holding a crucifix, look closely and observe.
I usually don't think much of orbs because they could just be specks of dust, but I will admit that the timing of these orbs is often uncanny.
The ladies here like to speak. I've got a cross in my hand. Does that offend you or does that make you happy? Come speak with us, please.
It really looks like they can see the orbs too. Like during this part, for example. First you see the orb, then moments later the man on the left turns around and appears to see something too. Moments like this one happen throughout the video, and makes me think all of this is real. They also pick up some really weird noises on their spirit box. This part sounds like something from another world trying to speak in human tongues. And tell me if this sounds like a spirit who is asking for help. Skiers beware. Sometimes the snowbank is deeper than it appears. Posted to Instagram by Chris J. Fish. This GoPro video shows viewers what it's like to avalanche yourself. The skier is seen traveling over a snowy hill between two trees followed by some rocky crags. After overtaking the rocks, he immediately drops feet down into the snow. He is seen frantically trying to dig himself out. After what seems like an eternity, he spots a glimmer of sky above, as someone on the surface is also digging frantically to pull him to safety. Chris says this is the first time he's been completely buried. He writes in the comments, "I started to panic a bit as soon as I inhaled a whole bunch of snow. My entire throat and mouth were full and definitely had a bit in my lungs." He goes on to explain that his friend was staged nearby to rescue him if this happened, which anyone who's skiing across unknown territory should do. Did this scary event stop him from future skiing? Nope. He writes that as soon as his breathing returned, he was off again. Chris asked if we would include this PSA. He writes, "The rule to dropping from big cliffs into bottomless powder. Have someone close by to dig you out if you get buried." I'm thinking I'll stick to the bunny hill. Some souls darken the doorways of haunted homes. Others grow as bright as they lived. Published by Sajid Hussein in August of 2021. This Nest cam caught an unusual anomaly on this dark street at night. The video shows a vibrant figure glowing in the yard opposite the camera. The bright figure appears to be moving. It radiates while still for a moment before moving in a flash to a position about a foot away. The light then dims before glowing brightly again. It then enters into the street, glowing and spreading like fire. Throughout this, at times it looks like one entity and at other times two. At the end of the clip, the light subsides and disappears altogether. Where did the spirit go? Maybe this is the moment it crossed over. An old hospital that was recently turned into an office building is experiencing some pretty strange activity lately, as you will soon see for yourself on this unsettling piece of security footage. Right there it starts. And that door just completely opens by itself. Just watch that one more time. So the door stays completely closed and then just out of nowhere starts opening. And like the title says, this building is completely empty when this happens. So unless there's potentially a window open, like some sort of draft, I just can't think of any other reason why this would be happening. To provide some context on this video, the owner of the office building has said that he has seen somebody standing in the corner of this room, but he didn't want to say it was anything paranormal because he was a skeptic. However, just to make sure nothing serious was going on, he called the local authorities, and about a week later, after an alarm went off in the building, they came down to the office to come take a look, but they were unable to find anybody or anything. After checking the security camera footage, this is what they saw. So is this a haunted office building or just something easily explainable, like a bad door that opens on its own or something? Let me know what you think. Put on your bowling shoes. Published by Joe MC in June of 2021. A mysterious bright light is roaming the lanes of this bowling alley. The light is seen hovering distantly into a lane to the far left for a minute before shooting to the right. The twinkling light pauses for a moment in one lane before shooting left again. It hovers there and flies about a minute more before the clip ends. What is this strange light? Is it the soul of a bowling enthusiast? If it is, I hope he gets a strike. Flash. This noise anomaly is freaky. YouTuber SS3 Paranormal captures a strange sound, followed by a dark flash in the corner of the room. Look and listen. Let's isolate the two. Here's the noise. It almost sounds extraterrestrial to me. And here's the flash. Watch the top right corner. Well, that could be explained by the camera's light adjustment. I'm not sure what the sound is. Maybe an extraterrestrial's belly growling? If that's the case, feed him. Number 20. YouTuber Vlogs stayed in this haunted hotel for 24 hours and they didn't get a wink of sleep. It all began with the closest doors.
ये गेट ना अभी खुला प्रियांक प्रियांक उठ ना उठ ये देखो ये अबे ये देख सामने देख गेट ये देख
They slam closed but then open again. They open wide enough to reveal that there's no one inside.
क्या करें जाके देखो देख अभी मूवमेंट है ये पूरा खुल गया देख
Later, they believe something is in the bathroom. Watch for the shadow in the corner. Well, the YouTuber thinks that this is a shadow person. I think it could belong to him. Watch it again. Could it just be the way this light falls in the bathroom? Share your opinion in the comments. A YouTuber named Muzamil Khan records his neighbor having an argument one floor up. Muzamil knows that there's only one person in the apartment, but somehow at least two voices are coming out of the same man. I didn't really hear what he was talking about until this part in particular. Listen to this and tell me if you hear multiple voices panting, breathing, and speaking at the same time. Muzamil keeps recording until his roommate wakes up and shuts the door. Later, he says the police eventually took his neighbor into custody, who by that time had removed his clothes and was acting even more possessed. It's hard to tell from this video whether this man was actually possessed or just under the influence of something, which still doesn't fully explain how numerous voices could come out of one person at the same time. Esmeralda Vega is recording her family opening presents on Christmas. But one toy in particular keeps interrupting what should have been a happy family moment.
That shit moved again. I'm throwing it across the.
Maybe someone is controlling this toy from another room, or maybe it's motion activated, but based on their surprised reactions, I don't think anyone is moving this toy on purpose. If anything, the toy seems to move on its own as soon as the camera person mentions it, almost like it has a mind of its own. If anybody recognizes this toy, please let me know what it's called and if it's remote controlled or not. Maybe together we can verify if this video is real or not. The Sonora Inn was built in 1896 and is infamously haunted by many a spirit. Thomas writes that he worked night shift there in 2018 as he was setting up for breakfast at 5 a.m. This is what was captured on security camera. Watch the bowl he places on the counter in the top right corner. Let's see it again. Do you believe in this dining room poltergeist? I feel it might be a case of the wet surface of the bowl acting as a lubricant. After all, he did say it was a bowl of ice, but that's just my theory. What do you think? YouTuber Lomar Mendez was locked in this terrifying poltergeist pillar with his partner, and they were not alone. As they ascend the stairs, they hear an unexplained sound.
What did you hear?
It kind of sounded like a groan.
Really?
To me, it sounds like a whale. Then they hear a child.
I swear to just heard a child.
A child?
Yeah. A kid. A kid just like bah. I'm not even joking, like just now.
While I didn't hear the child, the sound could have been muted by the team's ascent. The echoing of the tower makes things difficult to distinguish, but I definitely heard this next sound.
Can you appear to us?
You heard that? Yeah.
I was like walking on one of these stairs.
Yeah.
But the creepiest part is yet to come. Listen closely.
Hello?
It's difficult to tell where the screams are coming from. Are they outside or within the tower? Nothing is clear, but in my opinion, there is definitely something unnerving about this place. And if they are indeed communing with the child ghost, then it sounds like he is in agony and needs their help. On May 11th, 2020, this boy in Texas walked up to his parents after collecting a bucket full of these strange creatures. He was using a small plastic toy shovel. Had he used his hands, he might not have survived. If you ever see one of these strange sea creatures washed up on the beach, don't ever try to pick it up. They're called blue dragons, and as the name in bright blue colors should warn you, their toxic wrath will mess you up quick. Sometimes. I say sometimes because grabbing one leaves a 50-50 chance of you writhing in the worst pain of your life, worse than a giant jellyfish or even a stingray, or you won't feel anything at all. That's because these sea slugs feed on much larger venomous prey like jellyfish. They take the venom of their prey and store it to be used against larger threats like us, for example. Their supercharged sting feels like the wrath of a dragon as a result, and how much damage it does to humans depends on how recently they've feasted. Blue dragons have been known to wash ashore and cause major problems for anyone unfortunate enough to walk through a patch of them like this one. They also float upside down and can be easy for swimmers to miss in the shimmering sea until it's too late and they are burning all over. A group of them are called a blue fleet. If accidentally brushing up against a single one is worse than a school of jellyfish, imagine how a whole fleet would feel. The science world acknowledges this creature has enough venom to potentially end your life, and if that possibility doesn't make them one of the scariest things you can find at the beach, I don't know what does. No actual cases like that have been documented yet, so stay far away from them and you won't be the first. A 4-year-old is happily drinking his juice until for some reason the straw stops working. His protective parents get a bad feeling and curiously inspect the package to see what's wrong.
And this is what it's inside. Nasty.
A thick green clump of sludge clings to the bottom and blocks the straw. Slowly, they realize their child has been unknowingly sucking on what could be a giant floating piece of moldy gel. As if that wasn't bad enough, the father flips it over with a straw to reveal an even worse looking underside.
Ew.
Oh my god. Again. Look at that.
The alien-looking growth is probably loaded with bacteria and far from safe to consume. So if you've ever been enjoying a packaged drink and the straw stopped working, I guess you now know a reason why. An urban explorer decides to check out a house that has a reputation for being beyond scary. If only he knew. Upstairs, he finds an open closet that he decides to explore, like he has done with everything else in the house so far, a decision he soon regrets. Large fingers wrap around the corner and send him running down the stairs as something screams behind him. I really wanted this not to be real, so I kept reading through the comments, but the uploader never says it's fake. A lot of people think it's real, but the low resolution makes me think it's edited, or at least I really hope so. Outside of their apartment, a husband and wife capture a strange reflection in the window that is too curious to ignore. They grab an infrared camera, and this mysterious, unexplained video is what they've caught on tape.
there's nobody.
Bizarre.
At the very beginning of this video, 3 seconds in to be precise, a full zoom does appear to have caught a possibly real ghost sighting on video in greater detail. You can discern a tuft of her white hair, the folds of her robe, her older looking face, and what direction she is facing, theirs. As soon as they turn on the lights for a better look, the figure is gone.
That was bizarre. Same window. Same window, and there's nothing there now, no matter what I do. Bizarre.
And when he switches the camera back into infrared mode, the mode he first detected the spirit with, it does not return.
There's infrared. Right there on that curve. I know it. Right on that side. It's back to normal. There's just nothing there.
It's almost as if nothing was ever there to begin with, and yet the paranormal evidence caught on camera proves at one point there was. Maybe they were holding something up to the glass to make it reflect this image and took it away, though I don't know what that something would be. YouTube channel Paranormal Nightmare TV series takes a location tour of Bridgeport Manor, and they soon encounter the manor's mysteries as the tour guide shares that a man passed away of a heart attack in this room. Listen closely.
He said, well, we want to go talk to Lester James. He says, it's me.
What was that voice?
We'll go talk to Lester James. He says, it's me.
One of the crew even hears it in the moment.
Who was that?
What'd you hear?
A male voice.
Later, as they're capturing video in the building, several noises are heard.
Hear it? Dude, that vibrated the whole building. House voice. Somebody's got to be here.
Although they didn't find anyone there, they hear more haunting proof later.
It was like it answered you.
If you can see or hear us, hit something and give us a sign of your presence.
Oh, alarm.
They hear one of their paranormal devices go off on the second floor.
Keep your left a little bit rocking.
Who keeps setting our alarm off in the cell?
They receive no answer until the demon talks directly to them through the spirit box.
We heard you walking. Is that you?
Do you want to play?
Oh, yes, I want to play.
And it seems the demon does.
Did you just touch me?
I think there is enough evidence here to suggest this place does house some ghosts or demons, but whether or not they just want to play is anyone's guess. Some ghosts are so dramatic. YouTube team Project Fear shares this scare at the sanitarium. First, they hear a girl's voice.
Could have came from any single door at any single... That was a girl's high-pitched voice. Hello?
And then this happens.
What the Holy that door just shut! That door just shut! That door at the very end of the hall just shut!
He picks up the camera to go and check it out.
Shut! I hope I caught that on camera. No way. No way.
And it's leaving me in utter terror. Number 20. When you venture onto the grounds of a former battlefield, take note, it's likely haunted. The YouTuber explains that he and his family were vacationing in Washington, D.C. when they visited the Manassas battlefield. The battle resulted in a large number of passings. Needless to say, this is a place worth haunting, and apparently this YouTuber's got the goods. He writes, "We videotaped there, and later that day we were watching the tape and we noticed the woman dressed in white walking along the fence line. There were no reenactments going on that day, and we didn't see her there." They note that the ghost is walking away from the graves of Mrs. Henry, her daughter, and her son and into a field near the black fence to the left of the house. The Henry house stands on the plateau of the hill on which the battle took place. Judith Carter Henry was bedridden and couldn't leave the house at the time of the battle. A projectile burst through the bedroom wall and took her life. Could this lady in white be Judith? You decide. This double doll haunting recently occurred somewhere in South America. Two girls are happily talking to the camera while clutching their Barbie dolls. They are admiring their toys when suddenly their toys admire them back. Both dolls twist their head all the way around to look at the girls, who scream and throw their possessed toys to the floor. You can clearly see that the girls are not holding the dolls anywhere near their heads when they start to move, so maybe it is real after all. If anyone can translate what these girls were saying, then perhaps it will help us figure out if this video is fake or legitimate after all. A Miami woman was fast asleep on her couch when an unusually creepy looking woman decides to enter her home, captured on the homeowner's Canary home security system. This stranger was filmed the entire time she rummaged through this house. Even more odd is how this woman hovers over the homeowner on the couch, watching her sleep. I originally thought this video was fake because the stranger looks like the possessed girl in your typical scary movie, but the incident is 100% real and most likely wouldn't be believed without this footage. This individual was never caught or identified. YouTube team Charm City Paranormal investigate the haunted Wilson Castle in Proctor, Vermont, and what they discover there is truly haunting. They first encounter a spirit named Zachary via EVP in the ballroom on the 3rd floor. While I don't necessarily hear this phrase, I do hear a bone-chilling, disembodied voice. A recording device captures another EVP, but this one is truly indecipherable. Any theories as to what it says? After speaking directly with the spirit, some unexplained sounds are heard.
Did we do something to offend or upset you?
I just heard a woman say yes.
Later, they also believe they've caught an apparition on camera. I'll let Mike explain.
Grabbing my second angle, I briefly lingered in the threshold of one of the closets, and during this time, captured a very strange anomaly on the camera, and I can't come up with a solid reason as to what this is. Ethan is currently the only one in the room with the light on, and is on the opposite side of the room.
I'm not sure what that is either. I can't think of a logical explanation, and I wouldn't discount the paranormal in a historic castle like this one. Well, this ghost hunter explored a cathedral. He was met with something unexpected: the devil. Ghost hunter Red Fox set up a Ouija board inside this haunted cathedral, and soon felt like he was being watched.
뭔가가 여기 있을까요?
And not only watched, but something is clearly present. Watch the playback, nothing is in the hallway from where the sound was coming from. And then that nothing is coming straight at him. The playback again shows nothing there. Until the big reveal. The playback reveals all areas of the cathedral on camera while this occurred. Later, the ghost hunter discovers his Ouija board has been misplaced. Looks like the devil has left the chat.
지금 거의 해가 뜨고 있습니다.
The Franklin County Old Jail, which was established in 1818, is widely known for being extremely haunted, and usually, it seems that whoever dares to enter finds themselves getting more than they bargained for. A YouTube channel named Paranormal Purgatory decided to venture down into the jail themselves to have a look around the place. The jail is eerily decrepit and worn down, something you'd expect from a 200-year-old building, but just because it's worn down doesn't mean that the place remains uninhabited.
Look at that. That's gonna be.
You see the old rocking horse in there?
No, what I see.
Go in there.
No, what I see.
Go in there.
No, what I see.
Go in there. Did you hear that?
I heard that too.
There was a whistle.
So next to the bed here, I do kind of see what they're talking about here. If you just focus on the bed, there appears to be just kind of this shadow, and then it almost seems to take off to the right here.
Old rocking horse in there?
No, what I see.
Go in there.
No, what I see.
Go in there.
No, what I see.
Go in there. Did you hear that?
Oh, right there. Okay, I now see exactly what they're talking about. So there's going to be a flash of light. So it looks like it's like a head and kind of a torso, and there's that flash of light, and then it looks like it just sort of pops right up. It happens so quickly. I should play this in slow motion. Right here, don't you see that? And then it just pops right up just in the split second that it's shown in the light. Even though the crew behind the channel had only just started to look around the jail, little did they know that they didn't need to look any further for signs of paranormal life, as you can make out what appears to be some sort of shadow figure right next to the bed, which vanishes just as quick as it appears. During the rest of the video, the crew explores the remaining areas of the jail, but are ultimately unable to find any other signs of paranormal activity. Even still though, seeing this shadow figure in person during an investigation would be enough to terrify anybody. The Mulberry Rings in Dorchester, UK have a terrible history. YouTube team CVS Paranormal investigates this haunted place, and what they hear is disturbing.
We're not here to hurt you. We just want to communicate with you. You could do something.
To me, it sounded like a mix of voices and pigs grunting in the darkness. Shortly after, they hear footsteps in the grass nearby.
Oh, what? Sure.
Then this creepy moan is heard.
If you are walking, did you hear that?
As one of the team feels something touch her head, children's laughter is heard in the background.
It felt like something just touched my head.
They hear a rustling in the trees that they don't believe is the wind.
Like come from over there just now. In the trees. Are you over by the trees? Can you hear it?
It does look like there's a breeze though, and it could just be an animal settling, but this next noise does not sound natural.
What was that? I don't know.
And then again, they hear footsteps.
Yeah.
Is something stalking them in the darkness? The humming they hear suggests so.
Oh, it's really going now.
While I don't hear the humming sound in the end myself, I can hear all of the other unsettling noises in this clip. To me, the most disturbing part was the pig grunting and voices heard in the very beginning.
We're not here to hurt you. We just want to communicate with you. You could do something.
What do you think? Hardly anyone wants to see a clown at the best of times. Guaranteed, no one wants to see an uninvited clown on their doorstep. Published to YouTube in August of 2019, this creepy clown is everyone's unwelcome guest. Residents of San Antonio, Texas, likely double-check their locks after video of this creepy visitor was captured on Ring surveillance footage. The clown was said to be loitering outside people's homes in the middle of the day saying trick or treat. Again, it was August at the time. The Ring footage captures the man wearing a clown mask approaching a home around 1 p.m. The anonymous homeowner wasn't present at the time of the clown's visit. The security video was shared to neighborhood groups, sending a collective chill down everyone's spine. Resident Ernest Marquez sums up the fear saying, "What his intentions were, I don't know. The uncertainty, the unknown is everyone's greatest fear. Hopefully this case was broken before it was too late." A YouTuber named Chloe Constance travels to the haunted Morton Corbett Castle in England to put her ghost summoning skills to the test. First, they ask any spirits to make the candle flicker if they are nearby. The candle does indeed flicker, but it looks like it might have been edited, so I'm not sure how much time passes between her request and the flame's movement.
I want you to flicker if somebody's there.
But when Chloe tells the spirit to make a sound, this object flies by the camera. The pink object looks like a hand, but the question is, was it one of theirs? Only the person holding the camera is close enough to move her hand, so I guess it could have been hers, but I'm not sure. Still, if you slow down the video and look to the left, you'll see a bright white light appear as soon as Chloe says to make a noise. Look at her sister's pink sleeve to see it. Either way, they seem stressed out and call the video off. The Borgwanet house, built in 1876 in Sweden, is said to be one of the most haunted places in the world. Scratching, knocking, and screaming comes from the walls, not to mention shadow figures and objects moved by a ghost. The first reports of paranormal activity were in 1927, and they've continued ever since. Dima Maslenikov wants to document any and all paranormal activity on camera. It does not take long. The house is still when he hears a weird noise. It sounds like an EVP of a distant scream. He gets up and looks in the room. Two knocks, both coming from this door. He sets up a toy for a ghost to play with that also has a motion sensor.
Честно говоря, вот про эту комнату я толком ничего не знаю. И про нее, по-моему...
Not only does the motion detector fall off, it continues to stay on for a full 3 seconds. When he turns around, something was in the room with him, a paranormal entity. There wasn't anyone in the room. The bear falls over on its own. Next, he finds an infamous old rocking chair that's said to be the center of a lot of paranormal activity. He takes a flash Polaroid and notices a large dark shadow hanging over it, a shadow that does not look like it was cast by the chair because it's in front. He tries to recreate the lighting conditions and is unable to make the same round shadow appear. No matter how many pictures he takes, it never comes close to being like this one. This does seem to indicate that it's a shadow figure caught on camera in the first photo. The investigator summons his courage and goes exploring the second floor of the Borgwanet house. As he's watching the ceiling light moving by itself, a ghost pushes him. Watch for the camera blur as it walks by. That's when he notices a heavy piece of furniture has been pushed in front of a door. Someone was trying to keep something from getting out of its room. He moves the barricade and looks inside. It's an attic space with a small table for someone small to eat at by themselves. The space is empty. Whatever they were trying to keep inside has already left, so the legend spoke of shadow people screaming and knocking from the walls and objects moving by themselves. It's hard to believe it, but he really does seem to have encountered all of the creepy stuff in one visit, and it all somehow seems real. Stalking should never be taken lightly, as is made clear by this next video, published by Terry TV in December of 2020. A streamer named Ellie Gatto, dressed in costume, is walking through the streets of a Japanese city at night. Fun, right? Well, it was until this guy showed up. The stalker, captured on camera, is not even trying to hide his intent. Walking alongside the streamer with a sword known as a katana, he smiles as Ellie Gatto laughs uncomfortably.
Why is this guy following us? Why is he following us? Let's go this way. Oh god.
When she and her friend double around to try and lose him, the man follows. Ellie Gatto says they should go find her friend's husband. As she continues to try and lose the man, her laughter turns to real fear and concern. She even starts running as she attempts to call someone on the phone. She is brought to tears as the man gives chase. Fear Tales explains that a bystander noticed what was going on and pointed the girls to a hospital for protection.
This guy has noticed. Can I help us go to police?
He is seen in the video running alongside Ellie Gatto and serving as a witness to the man's predatory behavior. Later, the stalker is seen being led by authorities into a station. Although this scenario seemingly started as a joke, it quickly took a terrifying turn. Thankfully, this bystander didn't just stand by. Two friends are just kidding around when one of them goes running up the steps laughing and smiling, probably to grab the camera, I guess. There's a pause as if the two of them see something, and then a scream that doesn't match their playful laughter seconds ago. Most people agree that she was just being silly and slipped, but others feel she was dragged down by something that was with them both. She doesn't scream as she falls, but it happens so fast that she might have been too surprised. Monsters are all around us. Will you be brave enough to fight when you encounter them? In this video, a man is standing in a dark alleyway when another man to his right appears. Figures also seem to be standing around him in the darkness, out of sight of the camera, as you can see vague flickers of movement. Suddenly, he's at the mercy of these figures, but the movement is not human, but like a hurricane force. He's thrown to the ground and the force disperses. Then the other full-figured man in the video grabs him, before heading back into the adjacent building. It's almost as if there's water on the ground. As the man tries to move, there's a ripple effect. Then he is dragged by his feet by the unknown force off camera. The rippling continues for a moment before going still, but the stillness is brief. When the other dude returns to the alleyway, looking upon the scene, he suddenly rushes back into the building as something huge is thrown in after him. It's not clear if it's a person, place, or thing. A moment later, a figure wearing a long black cape and a hat leaves the building. A window shatters beside it as the figure departs. What in the world is happening here? Any theories? I feel at a loss when coming up with a rational explanation for these happening. Even though this snake wasn't on a plane, Samuel L. Jackson would probably not appreciate its presence on this train platform. Tweeted by Triple G RTO, he writes, being a train operator for NYCT Subway, I thought I have seen it all, but this can't be real. Oh, it's real alright. This feet-long snake, which has been identified as a non-venomous black eastern rat snake, was spotted on a subway platform in New York City on August 10th, 2020. The species can grow up to 7 feet and is native to the East Coast region, from Connecticut down to South Carolina and west to Kansas. It feeds on rodents, which may be why it's lurking in a New York subway station. As the enormous snake weaves slowly across the platform, a commuter stands not far off, waiting for her train's arrival. The MTA addressed the situation in a tweet, writing, "This is a new one for us. They were investigating the matter and aren't aware how it got there, although the reptile doesn't appear to have an owner, so may have just been out for a midday stroll or slither." Still, I'm sure many New Yorkers wouldn't want to share the L train with this scaly passenger. You are probably asking yourself what could possibly be scary about ice. Well, it's not so much about ice itself, but rather what's growing around the area that forms the cubes and pushes them out. A thick layer of yellow filth has taken over this restaurant ice machine, which is somehow still in service and making ice for customers. I'm not even sure what this specific part of the machine is used for, but I know I regret watching it. The yellow substance has crusted into black mold along the corners. Again, I honestly can't believe this video was recorded in a restaurant that was still open. And that's just what this ice machine looks like on the outside. What's growing inside is even worse. Take a look at this and tell me if you would want this floating anywhere near your cold drink. You'd think the cubes would be absolutely disgusting and easy to spot, but look at this ice. You'd never realize there was much of a problem, or where it really came from. A YouTuber named Sweet Dreams is shooting off Roman candles in celebration of the 4th of July, when a shrill scream pierces the night air.
Did you hear that? Yeah, you go first. It's a farm animal.
They track the noise for well over a minute until it becomes louder and more distinct. At the end of a short journey, standing a very close distance away, they discover the shrieking source hunched over and alone.
What is that? Dude, what is that?
He slowly backs away from the bent-over gray humanoid and then goes into an all-out run. The creature gives chase and Sweet Dreams turns around to find it swiping at him through the air. I can't tell if this is an actual humanoid or just one of their friends with makeup on, so I'll leave it up to you to decide. All of the other videos on his channel are just him playing video games, nothing else like this one. This TikTok video taken somewhere in India shows a mystery hidden within a window on the first floor. Are the curtains partially pulled back, or is a figure looking out of a window late at night for no reason at all? A high-powered flashlight is directly on them, yet there is no detail except for its odd outline. This apartment has a rogue poltergeist on the loose, and Seeker of Ghosts has come to tame it. First, the poltergeist demands that you wash your hands. In fact, he's pretty adamant about it. He then takes another tack. And later shuts the investigator in. Bored, he switches the TV on. Then this happens.
Какого хрена?
After that, it's no holds barred. Later, as the investigator talks to the camera, the poltergeist becomes the director.
Я пока в таких догадках, что
I don't know about you, but I don't think the taming is working yet. Ghost Adrift. Are you convinced this is a ghost? Captured at 2 a.m. on Redditor Mermaids Have Wi-Fi's friend's grandparents' Ring camera. This one has me guessing. The semi-transparent figure passes by, walking slowly across the front lawn. Its upper half seems to disappear as it continues past. Some think it's just a camera glitch, others think it's concerning. Take a closer look and see for yourself. The Redditor doesn't believe this is a ghost. Her friend is convinced it is, and she wanted to disprove it with Reddit's help. Are these Reddit comments convincing enough? I've got to admit, this does look like a slow shutter speed situation creating ghosting artifacts, but frankly, if I were these homeowners, I'd rather this be a ghost than an actual human on my property. Number 10. What is the number one destination to dispose of an object that's ended a life? In a river, of course. Posted to TikTok by Julian Stevens. This scary video leaves us wondering if that's exactly what happened here. The TikToker spotted a blade at the bottom of the waterway. Zooming in, you can see it's clearly a large kitchen blade. Zooming out again, you can see it's clearly in the middle of a creepy wooded area. Many in the comments suggest calling the cops. That seems like a fair assessment to me. This home surveillance video shows a round transparent object dart across someone's front yard. It starts from a walkway and then goes down a hill towards the house, perhaps looking for a way inside. Meanwhile, whatever this is supposed to be glares at the camera without moving, and when I zoom in, I think those might be horns. Gary Reed Unfrequented World is the name of a YouTube channel that, at first glance, seems chock full of ordinary outdoor vlogs and entertainment. Gary goes on photography and metal detecting excursions, and generally enjoys hiking his large property in the northern Ontario wilderness, often accompanied by his loving family. But something threatens the tranquility of Gary Reed's Unfrequented World, a screaming cryptid deep in the woods that can twist trees in its powerful grasp. But more on that in a second. First, let me talk about Gary and why his observations matter more than the average YouTuber. Born in the small Ontario town of Redbridge, Gary Reed has been surrounded by woods his whole life. Aside from a lifetime of first-hand experience exploring the local lands, he also has a degree in environmental science and understands his surroundings on an advanced biological level. So when he says there is something out there that he can't explain, it probably means you or I can't either. His first encounter with it was at the age of 18 while staying in a cabin on Rabbit Lake, October 19th, 1994. That's when he heard a scream that sounded like a woman, but not quite. He describes the second scream as a wail, crescendoing into a howl, like nothing he's heard before. It ran through the entire camp, screaming from one side to the other, then it was gone. On April 30th, 2020, he heard it again.
That sucks. Can hear screaming.
It sounds almost human, but not quite.
This thing is still going on over here.
Here it is again with the audio turned up. I know foxes can make some weird noises, but this sounds like a person enraged. Camera in hand, he sneaks quietly towards the direction of the screaming to see what he can find. His trained eye detects a strange break in this tree, along with other trees that have been toppled over, all of them facing the same direction, like someone was running fast through the forest.
There's one there.
And next to the strange scene is a braided bunch that looks like something strong twisted it into this shape. Let me know if there is any other way for these branches to fuse together, if not by sheer force. The deeper he goes, the more it looks like something large has stomped through. Oddest of all are these large tracks left by what he suspects is a cryptid that walks upright.
Not mine.
It's clear to me that these are not your average boots.
Like toe prints in here. You can almost see the toes.
At 10 minutes and 25 seconds, he tries to trace an outline of its toes, but I think he's a little off. Here's where they begin in my opinion, much bigger. The next day he measured the results, and it reminds me of a certain cryptid with particularly big feet. I'm sure you know who I mean.
13¼ inches.
I think it's real, but just to throw out a counterpoint, I will say that rain from the day before could have eroded the snow and could have made an otherwise normal footstep seem much larger. Now let's switch over to some trail cams set up by Gary. This evidence, taken exactly a month earlier on March 3rd, is the most compelling of all. On March 7th, 4 days later, he and his neighbor hear another scream so shrill, it sounds like it belongs to a child. He hurries out the door and finds himself alone and vulnerable in the pitch black night.
I gotta turn the dish back on. I can hear whistling.
A pair of animal eyes look at him from behind, but I think it might just be the light reflecting off his glasses back into the camera. But I could be wrong, because when they check around the same area the next day, his dog becomes agitated and seems not to want to proceed any further. Something is definitely up ahead. Maybe they are getting close on its trail. Not that its trail is especially hard to find when it leaves a path of giant bent trees in its wake. Could nature have done this? Probably not. It looks like something huge reached up and pulled it down.
That's a pretty big one.
And half a minute later, he finds this tree with a branch literally twisted off and set back in place. This doesn't look like a normal break to me because the tree looks rather healthy.
It's about 8 feet. And it's got a good twist to it.
Here's another perfectly healthy tree with green leaves, this time ripped in half by something strong, or maybe simply struck by lightning. Either way, that doesn't explain what animal is responsible for doing this.
You can see the bark and you can actually see lines. Well, those are tooth marks. See all those little lines are tooth marks.
I don't know what it is, but I know that anything that shreds trees while screaming is too dangerous for me to be in the same forest as. And that's only what's been going on for the past couple months. There's over a year's worth of cryptid content to uncover, so I encourage you to watch Gary read Unfrequented World and see for yourself. In the meantime, leave me your best guess as to what's doing this. Maybe we can crack one of the weirdest modern unsolved mysteries in all of Ontario. Do you have the common care to tame a snake? This shocking footage will make you question your own bravery. The video shows a man grabbing a thick snake with his bare hands. The snake looks around 10 feet long and arches toward the man when he pulls back. As the snake appears to be aggressive, the man holds up one arm. He is apparently trying to grab a hold of the snake close to its head, which he manages to do upon his second attempt. He takes the snake with both hands in a tight grip as it opens its mouth wide, baring its fangs. Then, as if with no care in the world, the man walks the snake over to some other workers, who pick up its tail and are taking photos with the beast. The footage ends there, but judging by this man's professionalism, I think we can safely guess the snake was properly removed to a more secure location. William Sloan has no idea what to make of this paranormal evidence, and is asking for help from experts because he admits he doesn't know much about the other side. He was playing with a Ouija board when he made contact with a ghost who calls itself James. William must have forgotten to properly end the ceremony because ever since then, scary stuff like this happens way too often around his now haunted home.
Just rock it a little bit. Just a little bit.
Obviously, there's no one behind it or near it except for him, but the lighting is a little low, so maybe he was pulling on a piece of string to make it look like a ghost is moving the chair. Weeks later, William tries his best to harness some type of relationship with the spirit. Train it, if you will. One of the paranormal experiments is called the candle trick, and it involves trying to get James to move the candle around.
One more time.
Most objects, when pulled with a string, will glide over the smooth surface of a table. This sounds different, like it's being pushed down into the table with some amount of friction. William also claims to have been trying to get James to blow the candle out, but I guess that hasn't been caught on video yet. If you're still not sure what to make of this, you're not alone. Sometimes William himself has doubts, but whenever he does, it seems like the ghost has more scary moments to show.
I don't know. Just went a little bit. I'm not convinced.
Even assuming the sliding glass door was open, the timing of the wind gust is undeniable. Much like the candle, William says he's not convinced, and then James convinces him.
Holy.
William has saved the best paranormal evidence for last. This time he gives James a new object, a bell. He doesn't believe in modern ghost hunting equipment and believes a simpler approach will yield the best results. He rings the bell a few times to show James that it works and then invites him to do the same.
You do that. Just give me one good ring if you're there. You see that? Is that happening?
Since William asked for help, I'll give my overall analysis. I think videos like this are hard to fake. I've seen a lot of them, and this is probably the most convincing because I don't know how he could be faking ghost movement from that close. In other words, the bizarre activity is probably real. This bar ghost is one angry customer, posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Zazie Maleth. The Redditor claims this clip is video proof that the restaurant she once worked at was haunted. The clip shows security footage shot from behind the bar of the restaurant. A close-up reveals a glass sliding of its own accord and then appearing as though it simply hops right off the counter, smashing onto the floor. Nothing and no one caused it to fall. Zazie adds to the perplexity of this writing. The glass that fell was one of those wine glasses that are heavier on the bottom to prevent it from falling over, and was sitting on a non-slip rubber mat used commonly in bars. Just one more reason to call in sick. Most people run away from monsters, but these two friends seem to be chasing one down. The creature looks to be very wide and is either covered in matted black fur or wearing huge black robes. I can't exactly tell which one. What I do notice are the impossibly large feet, and even though it's kind of hard to see, towards the end of this clip I can barely make out a gigantic white hand that is almost the size of its entire body. The creature's proportions make absolutely no sense, and when it turns around to defend itself against them, the front looks even more horrifying. Look again and you'll see the creature has a giant gray face that is twisted and warped beyond recognition. This still frame shows what I am talking about. Let me highlight the two eyes and open mouth so you can see it better. And of course, its oversized, gnarled hand is reaching out for them both. Alcatraz. A man is walking around the infamous Alcatraz when he picks up two possible paranormal encounters. I'll start with the weirdest one first. He is inspecting a row of holding cells when a loud voice seems to call out to him with a single question. It sounds to me as if the deep voice is asking one simple word: why? The second possible encounter occurs as he is entering another part of the prison. Listen to this strange and haunting laugh. This one has a fairly reasonable explanation. Alcatraz is on an island, so maybe this was a bird call echoing off the prison's walls. I can't tell for sure, so let me know what you think about these two events. Do you think you could stick it out in an abandoned former asylum, and what if you were being watched when you got there? Published to YouTube by This Is Dan Bell in September of 2015. This Place of Nightmares is a hauntingly beautiful house of horrors. The stone building is hidden in an overgrown woods, and naturally, Dan enters the basement first, wallpaper chipping from the wall. As he explores, Dan explains that he kept hearing noises throughout his exploration, which sounded like a person. He thinks a former patient returned to this building and was living there. Well, as a viewer, you're likely distracted by all the intricate details of this building, including its decorative tiles and molding, its stained glass sunroof and one stairwell, its fireplaces and chandeliers. You might miss this figure in the doorway. Dan himself only noticed when safely back home. Watching the video back, the point in question occurs at around 7 minutes 5 seconds when he's turning a corner around a stairwell. There's an open door in a hallway beyond with light shining against the door, and a shadow is plainly visible. It moves as Dan turns to head up the stairs. Plenty of other strange things occurred during this visit, including Dan's battery popping and what looked like red stains found on the tile floor in an upstairs room. That's probably the point where you should get the heck out of an abandoned building. I'm just glad Dan and his team made it out. Something giant is swimming fast across Lake Okanagan, Canada, never breaking the surface for a clear look except for this part at 40 seconds when a fin flaps by. There's not a boat in front of it, so it's not getting towed. It's not a school of fish because I've never seen fish move in a perfectly straight line. It does appear to be one giant underwater creature. This clown puppet seems to be sitting up all on its own, though I guess somebody could be propping it up from behind. If it really is somebody off camera though, then please explain to me how this bright orange orb latches onto the clown's head 3 seconds into the video. The orb is just hovering in the pitch black darkness for a full 3 seconds, and then it attaches to the doll's hair as soon as it starts to move. That's too much of a coincidence for me. So do you think we're witnessing a spirit possess an inanimate object, special effects, or what? A YouTuber named 614 Life has a massive blockage in his shower drain, and now the water will barely go down. To fix this, he uncaps the drain and sticks a long plastic tool down the hole in search of the problem.
Oh, this is disgusting. Okay.
In less than 10 seconds, he is pulling up glob after glob of wet hair that is probably already weeks old.
There we go, yeah. Now that we're getting down in there, we get all the way down. As far as I'll let you go.
The clog looks thick and full to begin with, but as he gets to the meaty center, the situation gets out of control until finally he finds himself ripping up huge chunks with an actual pair of pliers. The section is probably months old and gives him a lot of resistance.
Oh yeah, look at that. Oh my god.
And if you haven't already almost lost your lunch, he picks up the mess with his bare hands to give you a closer look, then he drops it with a sickening wet slap.
This is hair.
Wild animals can be incredibly dangerous, even animals that look as slow and non-menacing as moose are. YouTuber Azeroth6390 discovered that in June of 2007 when he published this video writing, "My dad and my grandfather were trying to chase a moose into the forest because it was in a village scaring people. What happened next? Well, see for yourself. The moose is wandering in the forest, and you can see a man and his dog head towards it. The shot cuts to 3 moose running along next to a home, presumably being chased off by someone, while a dog nearby the man filming starts barking. That's when one of the moose has had enough. He clambers through the trees towards the dog, and the man filming the man lets out a crazy bellow, so the moose thinks better of it. Also, he seems to be having a tough time getting through the thick bramble. The moose retreats, and the man filming says, "She tried to get us," in his native language. Moose can be very dangerous in terms of behavior. They're not as aggressive as bears, but their population size means you are more likely to be injured by one than you are by any bear. According to How Stuff Works, in Alaska alone, moose outnumber bears nearly 3 to 1, wounding around 5 to 10 people in the state annually. That's more than grizzly bear and black bear attacks combined. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to feel the power of the weight behind those antlers. Unidentified flying devices do exist, posted to the Very Spooky Video subreddit by Yuli Bon. This strange ghostly robot figure was captured on film in Peru. The figure is blue and glowing. It illuminates the night but dims slightly as cars pass on the highway beyond, and as it appears to drift further into the distance, Redditor Planet Nile suggests that it's a costume, writing, "When the brightly lit trucks pass behind it, the camera can't pick it up against those, so instead it casts a shadow, which means it's a solid object and not a phantom." Others remark that 3 a.m. is witching hour, so who knows, it could be anything. What do you think it is? This doll looks innocent enough, but is it? Molly, also known as Akka, is pure evil. Here is proof. The conversation starts out simple.
"One of the objects I've put near your vessel. Thank you. Thank you, Molly."
When the paranormal investigator presses further, she receives a confirmation.
"Molly, can you just confirm that this is you?" "Yeah."
She also reveals her true feelings.
"Are you negative and grumpy? No. Are you misunderstood?" "Thank you."
And then the question we'd really like to know the answer to.
"Do you wish to harm anyone in this house?" "Yes."
But Molly doesn't just want to harm anyone. She's got a specific person in mind.
"Do you wish to harm my son, Sam?" "Yes."
It's probably time to take your son Sam and get out of Dodge. This Redditor's friend captured something mysterious on her Ring camera. The footage shows a chair sitting outside on the porch. One moment it is empty, the next a figure seems to be sitting there.
Okay, so now I'm going to slow it down for you guys. You see that? I don't know what the that is in my chair. The stool moves back and forth just once.
Some in the comments say the entire frame is jumping, which suggests a time lapse in the video.
Okay, so now I'm going to slow it down for you guys. You see that? I don't know what that is in my chair. The stool moves back and forth just once.
Without the full video, they think a pet or a wild animal may have perched in the chair, appearing like a person, but it doesn't look like any species of animal I've ever seen. What do you think is going on here? Have you ever had an imaginary friend? Did that friend ever try to push you off a roof? Published by Ufology Unidentified Objects in November of 2021. The timestamp on this security footage shows it was taken in June of 2015. A boy is walking around on a roof, kicking something near the corner, maybe playing soccer with an imaginary friend. The boy walks out of view and then moseys on back. That's when this friend is done playing. A mysterious shadow appears in the air behind him for a moment, and the boy is shoved forward. He stumbles and is thrown face forward and out of frame. A glittering appears in the air behind him like water being splashed. Is this poltergeist upset that the boy stopped playing? Or has the game just begun? While inside the screaming house, YouTube team Moxley's Paranormal World doesn't hear the screams, but they do feel the fear. It starts with a sensation.
See how you can see my shadow? I know you're here, I can feel you. This is one I've never been able to... There's something here. Oh,
What was that?
What was that?
Something was on me, there was a spider on me. No.
Then they hear something.
I'm hoping the camera's picking this up.
A cat ball is triggered in another room, and some of their other paranormal devices go off as well.
Who's just got the cat ball?
Pardon?
Cat ball's going off.
Oh. And again?
My K2's going off as well. Look.
Thank you for that.
The K2 starts lighting up as it sits in a chair.
K2.
Are you sat in that chair? Yeah. Is this your chair?
As they're distracted by the K2, a shadow figure sprints past behind them.
Did he want us out? Look at that, it's just a straight red. Mate, I just caught a shadow. I've seen a shadow behind me. Don't you just see the outline fly behind?
And they keep hearing a female voice.
I said another voice again.
Mate, it's strange, very strange in here.
I just said it was a female voice that. Do you know what, right? Do you know what I can picture in here? It sounds, going off.
All evidence points to a female presence lying low in the screaming house. I just want to know the story behind this place. Baird Strudwick and his friends are just goofing around at a local trampoline park when they decide it would be funny to cover him in bubble wrap and do some stunts. None of them, not even Baird, expected this gag would almost cost him his life. The green bubble wrap suit definitely looks amusing, but after a while, Baird gets overheated and goes down. They quickly rip the suit off, and Baird says he's feeling okay at first. A little bit later, it becomes obvious that what he's actually feeling is the early onset of heat stroke. Now all of his friends gather around him and try to think of a reasonable plan as Baird sits on a chair with his head hanging low.
No. I was gonna say you could get like a wet towel and like
So you stay out in the cold will help a lot.
You ain't doing too well. If you guys have like a hand towel, you just like...
About 40 tense minutes pass before Baird finally recovers enough to film an outro for the video. He is still drenched in sweat and looks woozy, but I'm really glad nothing permanent happened. I will admit that I didn't think anything serious would come from this idea, and the sudden turn of events took me by surprise. Hopefully this video will help us all think twice before attempting anything similar. Two friends are playing around with a camera in an old basement. I won't even tell you what to look for. Just watch and see if you can find anything out of the ordinary.
Falls down as I go, okay. Now we're gonna do some weightlifting.
Here it is again if you missed it. Let me know if you saw this supposed shadow person on the first try. I will admit that you have really good eyes if you did. If this video is real and not just someone who is dressed up, then this is definitely one of those videos that makes you wonder what other possibly paranormal events have gone on right in front of you without noticing. A student is doing some schoolwork on his computer when somebody comes in and starts recording. They have a short conversation that's interrupted by a large figure standing in the darkened doorway behind them. The creature's head almost touches the ceiling, and its arms are so gigantic and long that they don't even fully fit in the camera frame. Its arms look long enough to pluck them from the couch and drag them to their doom. Fortunately for them, the two friends get away just in time and take off. They glance back for a moment only to find Slenderman silently regarding them from the top of the stairs. Now that you've seen this on video, I'm eager to hear if you think this was a real Slenderman sighting or just someone in a really good costume. These paranormal investigating YouTubers traveled to a movie theater in Sagan, Texas to take their chances with the ghost of a girl who repeatedly scratches the staff at random. It isn't long before they hear not footsteps, but rather a single footstep, which is somehow even more unnatural and unnerving. Listen and watch. No one else is around.
I'm come here to communicate with whoever lives here.
They keep hearing and seeing things that aren't quite showing up on camera. Short flashes of movement out of the peripheral vision that go away when they try to look. But this part, taken in the back right of the theater at 7 minutes in a section where they keep hearing most of the noise, seems to show someone in the seats looking back at them.
Man, there's some serious creaking going on these steps right here.
The face has no detail, even though these are good quality cameras with night vision, and the head looks nearly see-through, almost like the after image of someone who can only exist through sheer willpower and nothing more. This Uber passenger looks like a relatively regular person at first, until he reveals a rather unsettling tendency.
Oh! God.
He reaches to his face and gently presses both eyes out of the socket. The right eye protrudes way more than the left and looks ready to burst and roll down his cheek at any moment. I can't imagine that doing this would be good for your eyes at all, and I hope he doesn't cause long-term health problems. But for now, he has definitely succeeded in creating a video to creep out you and me both. Believe it or not, this doll is scarier than she looks. Published by Rota X in November of 2020. They encounter this creepy doll directly upon entering, covered in red. Let's hope that's paint. And then this happens. After they're running away as fast as they can from the demon doll, they realize the presence is still with them. It makes itself known via the EMF meter. Has whatever possessed that doll latched onto them? Time to call an exorcist. Would you rather see a ghost reflected or see one solidly in front of you? Posted on TikTok by RickyLie27. Ricky is wandering through what looks like a massage parlor when something unexpected appears over his shoulder. The TikToker is talking to the camera as he guides viewers through and doesn't even seem to notice this creepy figure that appears in the window behind him. A woman with long dark hair dressed in white lurks there. It's not clear if the woman is standing outside beyond the window or if this is a reflection of the woman standing inside. I kind of hope it's the former, because if not, she could be right over your shoulder. A YouTuber named Richard205Maria believes that some kind of advanced life form is following his every move, so he sets up surveillance equipment around his house. He finds this strange creature flying around his yard at around 6 in the morning shortly thereafter. The glowing all-white apparition looks relatively small and is so fast that the camera has a hard time capturing any details. We can vaguely see 4 humanoid limbs and perhaps a set of wings as well, though it's hard to tell for sure. It appears to fly headfirst with its arms stiffly sat at its sides, a strange characteristic for almost any creature of flight on this planet. I think there is a strong possibility that this could be CGI, but I can't eliminate the possibility of an insect, a reflection of light, or even otherworldly contact. I encourage you to watch the other videos on Richard's channel and tell me if you think he has an extraterrestrial following him or not. A YouTube channel called Proper Good Games is streaming Pokemon when a game goes flying across the room off camera.
I thought when people ate quail it was like eating a fancy.
They are both looking at each other and not moving at all when it happens, so it could not have been them. Then what she says next makes me feel like this happens all of the time. Do you believe her?
I'm not lying when I say ghost follow me around, right?
And when he goes to pick up the game, he lets out a gasp as the temperature into this part of the room suddenly grows very cold. Again, is this real or just good acting?
It's really cold when it's
Sure, it actually is.
A watchman is sleeping in his chair at around 1 in the morning when a special visitor wakes him up with a racket. Published by Wokun High Official in March of 2022, the watchman enters the road and finds nothing. After zoning out again, something drops into his lap from the sky. Again, he looks for the culprit but finds nothing. Getting some more shut-eye, the motorcycle now starts to move on its own, and then the cane in his hands is kicked out from under him. When a distraction in the bushes wakes him yet again, he checks it out but again returns to sleep. That's when the woman in white enters the frame. She walks eerily past down the road, one arm outstretched to hold up her robe. She then re-enters, approaching the sleeping man. She sits and watches him a moment before vanishing. One of his legs is kicked out from under him. He ends up on the ground. Is this night watchman destined to be up all night? It certainly seems like this lady in white doesn't want him to sleep. If you've ever had something in your home act out of character, then you might feel Alex Huff's pain. The TikToker appears to be doing an everyday makeup tutorial when her wardrobe starts to creak open.
I use the Milani 05 Soleil, so I'm gonna try that on, and
then suddenly slams shut and bursts open again. The room's light above goes out, and then, as she's peering into the wardrobe, that light falls dim as well. Alex posted a second video showing that no one is inside or outside the wardrobe, and yet it's creaking again. In the third video, she's getting her room saged to get rid of whatever evil entity lies within. Burning sage is said to provide a spiritual cleansing for the home. Hopefully it did rid of the bad energy, and Alex can go back to doing her makeup tutorials in peace. Based on the events happening here though, I wouldn't be surprised if that house is legitimately haunted. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Purgatory Adventures. This redditor wrote, "Check out this crazy scream we captured while spending the night in a haunted location in Saskatchewan, Canada." Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Yeah. Kick it again. Yeah, I can see the lights.
See the lights, Kate?
You're gonna sit there? You're gonna sit there?
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Lady Mania wrote, "I barely hear a scream. I only hear regular noises and the two people talking." Well, Corn TJE wrote, "Sounds like a cat in my opinion. Did you hear the scream the uploader is talking about? If so, what do you think is causing it? Let me know in the comments." What hides in the shadows can oftentimes be shadows themselves. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Mego White, the Redditor explains that she and her husband were away from home over a weekend and set up the motion detector Alfred camera app in their room for the surveillance. When they returned from their trip, they were met with this unusual and terrifying video. The clip shows a fuzzy bedroom backdropped by a doorway with either a light on beyond or a natural source of light casting inside the other room. That light shifts as something is apparently moving enough to set off the motion sensor. In fact, that something appears to pass right across the doorway, blocking out the light beyond for a moment. You can make out a distinct figure. It's more like a shadow or a vague or even invisible figure that still somehow manages to distort the light. There is definite movement, but from what, we can't know for sure. Redditor JJ740 asks if there was an intrusion, to which Meg answers that all the doors and windows were locked and nothing was missing. She also notes that strange things have been occurring in this house for a matter of months. Like what? Meg explains we can always see a shadow walking out of the office through the wall into my closet, and I always thought I was seeing things until we caught this on camera. She also says in another comment that her kids have heard people talking, and her 2-year-old has even started laughing at something in empty rooms of the home. A Redditor writes, "That's actually genuinely creepy." Of course, as with every potentially paranormal clip, you have your insect theories, but most agree that the clip looks legit and not edited or faked. What do you think? Are you freaked out? I certainly am. With her camera recording, a girl kneels before a darkened doorway and challenges a spirit to touch her. A light passes over the room and her hair is brushed over her shoulder as if someone is passing through. I find this video hard to believe because that definitely looks like a flashlight coming from the other room, based on the way it hits the wall beside her in a concentrated circular beam. With that said, it still doesn't explain how her hair moved with no one nearby. Let me know if this effect is possible to do in Photoshop, or whether or not you think this is real. If it is real, then I have no idea why she would want to summon something so powerful in her own home. A paranormal investigator known only as Survivor is on his way to go exploring an abandoned haunted cottage. On the outskirts of town, 1 o'clock in the morning is when he sees, in his words, a strange grandmother on an abandoned road. There is no reason for anybody to be walking miles from town so late at night, let alone a senior, so he pulls over to see if she needs any help. To his surprise, the woman who was just there moments ago has mysteriously disappeared. He has a really bad feeling, so he pulls over at the side of the road. What he finds next has him wondering if this was a real ghost sighting caught on video. He finds nothing but an old tattered cloth where the woman was last sighted. It looks like it could just be a piece of roadside trash like a tarp or something. Take another look. Was this item really what her ghost was wearing? That thing you see out of the corner of your eye shouldn't be trusted. Posted by FingerLongJumping804 to the Ghosts subreddit. This looks more like a gremlin than a spirit. The video shows a man just trying to go about his day, taking out the trash, but as he opens the door, this strange small shadow leaps into view and quickly disappears out of the frame. The guy doesn't appear to see the figure in reality as he opens the door. Redditor Joey Josie suggests that someone just threw a piece of clothing across the room. Others think it's a gremlin. Some who've slowed the clip down note that the figure appears transparent, but perhaps the best theory comes from Pantless Weekends, who writes, "Trash bag was taken out, but its soul remained in the house. Better kick that to the curb too, before it stays for good." A YouTuber named Steve Huff records what he suspects could be a paranormal sighting. At the Longleat House in England, built in the late 1500s, a spirit descends the steps and then continues to walk in midair in heavy, plodding footsteps. Some people are claiming that this is some kind of hologram projection, while others say this is real. If you've ever been to the Longleat House in England, then let us know if this is just a tourist attraction, so we can settle the rumors once and for all. A YouTuber wants to go exploring at an old abandoned school on the edge of the town in Searsboro, Iowa, a place rumored to be haunted and made even scarier by some nearby creepy woods. The school was shut down 2 times and nobody really knows why, or at least the local townsfolk don't want to say. The inside is trashed and has no power, and yet their equipment makes a low rumble from an electronic disturbance coming from this stairway. Notice how the sound goes away as soon as they turn away from the steps.
Do we even want to try and go with that? I mean, yeah, I keep trying. Or should we go this way? I thought I heard from over here. Let's just explore that area. Should we go across the catwalk or this way?
Something paranormal is definitely up there. A strange feeling keeps them all away. In the next room, this rope moves by itself and then a bucket quickly follows. A second rope gets pulled and it's hard to say if all of this is a ghost or one of them off camera. On their way out of the abandoned property, they find this creepy secret room. Why a school would have a hidden room is beyond me, and also beyond creepy. Keeping a student down there would definitely get your school shut down. They find another small room hidden away and decide to go in. Inside is a message that says something bad happened in this secret room. It's an old worn message written long ago, not by them, but perhaps a former student. A creepy noise ends the exploration as fast as it began, and when they look back at the abandoned building, they see what could be a pale ghost in the window. It's not unusual for a radiator to make noise, but imagine this noise coming from behind your radiator. The original upload of this video was deleted, but was luckily saved by other YouTubers. The creature who's been living behind his radiator starts to rattle it and makes a squeaking noise, prompting the camera to peer behind it into the darkness. After several minutes of peering and not seeing, the camera seems to focus in on something more distinguishable. An eye at the bottom of the radiator appears. It doesn't look like a mouse eye or the eye of any other small rodent, but rather the eye of a human-like creature. The sound of a monkey erupts. Watch it if you're brave, but be ready to jump. If you have any doubt about the existence of poltergeists, this pair of videos will help put them to rest. The first was published by Tommy Wells in June of 2011. Filmed in Mount Pleasant, Tennessee, it turns out this poltergeist is not so pleasant. The first clip shows little Christina's birthday party. After singing happy birthday, blowing out the candles, and starting to cut the cake, suddenly the faucet turns on full blast by itself.
Did you like the bicycle and stuff you got for your birthday?
Oh my god, Tommy, it's gonna start again.
The family is afraid that it is going to start again and mess things up for everybody, but they're not sure exactly how it's going to happen. One of the adults shut off the faucet as another corralled the kids toward another room. Then things do start again. Pots and pans are projectiled from an upper cupboard, while the drawers open and close aggressively. One comes completely off its hinges and falls on the floor.
What the going on? Go to the front room. Go to the front room, let's go.
As if that weren't enough to convince you, in a second clip posted in November of 2013 by Bill Gursky, the owner says that things keep moving around the house. As he's talking about eating a pomegranate, the bowl he sets out on the counter has moved. He continues, stepping away from the counter, and over his shoulder, the bowl falls completely off the counter and onto the floor.
I'm kind of losing it here. Holy sh**.
Security cameras around his home also show doors opening and closing on their own, a cushion falling off a piano bench, sheet music flying off the piano stand, sheet by sheet, and again the closet door opening and closing. Now, do you believe? Reddit user Xbeer Seekers took this video late one night and shared it to the subreddit Humanoid Encounters, not entirely sure of what exactly he saw while filming. In the video, the Reddit user continuously clicks a light on and off, seeming to be playing some sort of a trick on someone or something, but what exactly does he see? Although it may be hard to see, if you look hard enough, you should be able to see it. Right there.
Get it?
Yeah.
Right there. Someone or something is just peeking its head past this rock here, trying to obviously stay hidden, and as soon as it spots them, it takes off.
Get it?
Yeah.
I think they just capture it that one time, which I also feel adds authenticity to this video. But what I wish they would have done is actually go and check out this rock from the other side to see if whatever it was they caught on camera was still hiding there. Right there. Just for a split second. Is caught on camera. Unfortunately, the video ends just a few moments later, and we are not given any sort of explanation as to what exactly was hiding behind the rock that night. The uploader states that he believes it could be related to a Native American myth, but is not entirely sure, which is why he wants viewers to give their opinion of what they think it is. So what do you think this strange figure is? There's a little ghost girl in my hallway, says a YouTuber named Kyleo Fisher, and I agree. You can probably see it too if you know to look here. If you stare into the darkness long enough, you'll see it. The barely noticeable outline of a figure with its arms down, neck bent, staring ahead. It can't be Kyleo because he is holding a camera, and this ghost girl in the hallway has her hands at her sides. Tell me if you can see the creepy figure. And if you still don't see it, don't worry, I've got you covered. And in my opinion, you can definitely see the pale outline of a ghost girl much better now. That's just beyond creepy. This YouTuber is exploring a scary abandoned place in India when their adventure goes wrong at 6 minutes and 30 seconds.
நம்ம ஓபன் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்க டைம்ல நம்ம விக்கி கிட்ட கேட்போம். விக்கி வாங்க.
It looks like a real ghost sighting at first, but somebody walks right in front of a light, so that could be what's making the shadow figure appear. Still, it's bizarre enough to make them leave, and when they look back, they see a ghost in the window. The light passes by the window one time, doubles back, and there it is, another ghost sighting. Look again though, and you'll see it was actually standing in the window the entire time. This could be a shadow person, a djinn, or one of their friends wearing a cloak. They claim it was a ghost, but I'm not sure. A YouTuber named Cooper Mackey says he has been hearing weird laughing voices around his house lately, and his sister has been acting really bizarre. So he grabs the camera and starts recording. It isn't long until his sister stops talking and slips into another one of her strange trances.
You can stop. Okay? Okay?
She briefly snaps out of it for a couple of minutes and then goes back under.
God. Oh my God. Shay, please.
This time she wakes up and remembers nothing. The way I see it, this has to be one of three possibilities. Either all of this is just acting, a real medical disorder, or an actual possession. Based on what I've seen, it's probably only a matter of time before something like this happens again. This creepy doll was found perched on a platform in a graveyard. What is it doing here? Posted to the oddly terrifying subreddit by Blocks. The doll's eyes follow you wherever you move. It appears to be dressed in a baptism garb, and it has two sharp teeth and what look like real hair. The doll just keeps watching with its eerie grin as the cameraman takes it in from all angles, while some in the comments explain that these eyes are able to follow you due to the curvature of the glass. That still doesn't explain what this creepy demon doll is doing in a graveyard. Some Redditors want this thing removed from the earth just to be safe, but Geraldine Ferrari writes, its eyes would still follow you. Yikes. Sometimes when you're horsing around on TikTok, you capture something you'd least expect. Shannon Brianna claims to have caught a ghost on camera. The clip shows an animated avatar doing a little dance, excited to go to bed, but watch this picture in the mirror. A shadow crosses its path, making the otherwise innocent scene wholly unnerving. Was someone in the room with Shannon? Was that a shadow figure or just a regular old ghost? Whatever it is, not sure if I'd be so excited to go to bed after seeing a creepy shadow across my bedroom wall. Giant. Did this TikTok user capture a giant in the wild, or is it just forced perspective? Shared by TikToker, this is what happens next. The video's original source is El Demonador de Sumizas. The TikToker spotted this abnormally large figure on a nearby hilltop. According to scale, the figure would have to be about 7 to 9 feet tall. It also appears to be floating at times. The semi-trucks passing by gives us a clearer idea of how giant this distant figure must be. Viewers were initially not totally convinced that this thing was a living being. That is, until the OP posted a second video where you can indeed see it moving.
Gigante ahí arriba. ¿Qué será?
Some in the comments say this could be an optical illusion. Others say that it's either balloons or green screen. Then, of course, there are the people who claim another person who posted video footage about a giant met an unknown fate. So, green screen, balloons, mountain specter, or a real live giant? My vote is giant, but I guess we'll have to see if the OP disappears to finally find out the truth. Hopefully it doesn't come to that to get some answers though. Number 14. The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado is thought to be very haunted and was the inspiration for Stephen King's The Shining. A YouTuber named Ricky Rock requests the most haunted room, 418, and records himself sleeping. Sounds of movement originate from within the room. Then at around 3 a.m., he claims a spirit entered his body. This is the exact moment it happened. He sits up and stares directly at the camera with a blank expression. I guess he could still be half asleep, but many believe that he is under the control of a spirit, and that's when some presence apparently made him speak in tongues. Watch this part and tell me if it sounds like something paranormal or someone having a bad dream.
I don't know.
The comments section of this video seems to be evenly split between fake and real, so let me know what you think based on what I was able to show. Go figure. The Great Salt Air in Salt Lake City is full of secrets. YouTube team Broken Wings Paranormal joins forces with Cold Spot Paranormal and discovers a giant figure is lurking in this spooky place.
Is he dancing? Can you raise your arm? Like this? Wave high? Hand up?
They capture the figure on the Kinect device in a dark room. Is it a giant?
Look how huge that is.
I know. Can you bend over and touch your toes?
It's growing. Its head is like almost off the screen on the little side.
Josh tries to reach out and touch it, and he feels something supernatural.
No, but I feel tinglies on my fingertips.
Stand up and let's see what happens. Oh, look at it leaning the other way.
It's like it's propping itself up with its elbow.
As Josh gets closer, the entity disappears.
Where he is. Oh, now
he
he's
left.
gone. You put your arm on it now.
You touched him and he left.
And he just.
Really?
Yeah, the minute you made contact.
In a surprising turn of events, it looks like the ghost got frightened by the living. It seems to me that Josh entered the spirit's personal space and they didn't like it at all. I've got a challenge. If there was a soundtrack to your nightmares, it would probably sound like this. Posted to TikTok by Hannah Hallett. She writes simply, help? You'd be seeking help too if this Yankee Doodle was blaring outside your window in the darkness of night. Hannah captures what looks like an ice cream truck making a U-turn on her road in the darkness. Well, that's a little odd considering the time of day, but not overly scary. The fact that the truck's haunting children's music is blaring from its speakers, even as darkness envelopes the night, is absolutely terrifying. Who is this ice cream man trying to attract? Imagine this nightmare fuel filtering into your subconscious as you fall off to sleep. Pretty sure nightmares would be a guarantee. This Chicago police body cam shows multiple officers rushing to save a man and his dog from freezing in Lake Michigan. From a distance, it looks like the distressed person is trapped on a snowbank at first.
Sir! Someone over here!
But as the officer approaches, you can see the person is actually waist deep in freezing waters and ready to go under. The officers quickly extend a rescue cord for him to tie onto, and they yank him to safety with one strong pull.
Come on! Hold me! Got this! Hold me! There we go! You're good. Come on. You're good. Thank you so much. You're good.
Thankfully, they are able to do the same with the dog as well. I'm guessing that he was walking his dog along the edge of the water for a nicer view when the snow gave way. The cold water must have left him practically frozen from the waist down and unable to climb out. Let me know if you agree whether or not that's what probably happened. Let There Be Light, posted to the Ghost Video subreddit by Zombie Foxes, the Redditor explains, the security guard quit after seeing the CCTV of an orb walking through a car park and turning on lights in the storage room. The lights can only be turned on with a sensor when you walk 4 to 5 steps in the bike store, which also requires a fob to access it. The video shows the car park in question. For a while, there's nothing to see here, but then the tiny white speck or orb floats slowly across the scene from the bottom right of the screen to the door. Just as it arrives there, the light beyond flicks on. Coincidence? Or is there just something here that we cannot see? If it's true that the lights are only triggered when a person enters, then who or what's inside? No wonder the security guard didn't want to stick around. Octagon Hall. Welcome to Octagon Hall in Franklin, Kentucky. Built in 1862, it still stands today, and it's reputed to be haunted by its history. YouTube channel Hauntings with Hodge explores this unusual dwelling, and as they set up their paranormal devices, they start going off like crazy.
On the top of the steps?
Upstairs?
Yeah.
I'm filming it right now.
Is there someone on the top of the steps? What the f was that? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That was like a group.
Later, they get a message from Harriet on their recording device.
Yeah, it is.
Harriet was the name of one of the home's residents. As the team talks about the recording, Harriet confirms her presence once more.
It's like, I think it was like, my name's Harriet. Like, she's trying to get it out. Here. Oh! Thank you.
Is Harriet truly here? I believe she is, and I don't, for a second, believe she's a good spirit. This creepy doll has been freaking out this dog for days on end, and since pets are sensitive to paranormal activity, it might be seeing something attached to the doll that's haunted. I mean, you would think that the dog would eventually figure out that the doll, although beyond creepy, is not a threat, but after hours of this behavior, you have to wonder if the doll is possessed by a ghost or something. Plus, just look at the thing. It looks like exactly the type of doll that gets caught moving at night. I can almost see the doll blink on camera, but I think it's just my imagination creeping me out. According to the uploader, they eventually all got creeped out by the doll, but instead of getting rid of it, which is what I would have done, they boxed it up and moved the doll into the basement, which is now no doubt haunted, but better than a haunted living room, I guess. In any event, hopefully the poor scared dog doesn't still sense its paranormal presence and can now get some rest. Things are about to get creepy on this CCTV video taken from a restaurant somewhere in China. A man looks in the cooler and decides to help himself to something else. A while later, he takes a seat near a woman who's looking the other way. 26 seconds is when he looks over and then he goes for it, taking something in her jacket, probably a purse, and walking straight out the door. He's fumbling around for quite some time and likely has to undo a button or two to abscond with her belongings. If only she had turned around the other way, he would have been caught in person and not just on camera. For those of you who think this isn't a scary video, try getting stranded in another country with no passport, money, credit cards, or phone. That's a situation only for the brave if I've ever heard one. Junior Tour 1 helps his father move a table, and only when they put it down does he notice something he wishes he never caught on camera.
And we picked it up under here, and we carried it out, and when I flipped it over, guess what I discovered? And I stuck my hands under there.
From the view at 36 seconds, it's easy to see how the spider stayed hidden from view. The circled area is where the spider is, and also exactly where he grabbed the table to lift it. For better context, this is where his fingers were, and of course you already know where the spider is. He thinks this is a wolf spider, but someone else claims this to be a dark fishing spider. This is a fierce debate in the comments section of the video, so let's see if we can settle the issue here. YouTuber Trevor Heasley published this clip in August of 2016. The footage was on the set of Postcards, a 2008 Pasadena City College student film. He'd taken it during the film shoot at the Metropolitan State Mental Hospital. Although the cast and crew heard a lot of ruckus during filming, they didn't see anything unusual. That is, until Trevor got his camera home and watched the footage back. The abandoned state mental hospital appears quite eerie in the footage, darkened windows on a hot summer day. The footage involves lots of close-ups and long shots of the area, including some gags with the cast. Everyone seems to be having a good time on the shoot, but will what happened next haunt them? During the shoot of one scene, the vapor-thin figure of a ghost appears to be walking across the hallway right before two of the cast. Apparently completely unaware of what just crossed their path, come running through. Okay, so it probably won't haunt them, being as they weren't even aware of what was happening before their own very eyes. That is, unless the spirit somehow inhabited one of them. I think we need a follow-up with the cast and crew of Postcards, and maybe then we can solve this scary mystery. A YouTuber named MMW Neighbor has a huge problem just 1 yard over. An oversized neighborhood pit bull has repeatedly slammed itself against the fence to the point where the structure is cracked and weakened. Now the wood bends dramatically with each hit. What's amazing is that the dog is behaving this way completely unprovoked. All the YouTuber has to do is simply come outside for all of this to start happening.
Nothing. Not even antagonizing this dog.
Hopefully the vicious dog is never able to get through. If it does, then I doubt his camera is going to be able to save him. A paranormal investigator named Ankur Kashyap knows of a spooky house nearby that's as haunted as it is abandoned, or so the local legends say. He and his friends wait until after dark to explore the house to avoid getting caught and to increase their odds of getting a real ghost sighting on camera. They sneak over the gate and are too busy filming an introduction to notice their first paranormal encounter of the night in the form of a yellow ghost orb. Translate this part if you can, because I feel like whatever he says is what gets the attention of the spirit world.
So आज मैं आ रखा हूँ अपने दोस्त निखिल की कॉलोनी में और मैं आ रखा हूँ एक haunted house पे. ये वाला haunted house मेरे दोस्त निखिल की.
And look, Ankur even subconsciously leans away seconds before the orb touches him, almost like some part of him senses an unwanted presence is near. Meanwhile, a pair of oversized eyes of something, possibly a ghost in the window, appear at 2 minutes and 51 seconds as they head through a basement entrance. Down this creepy, narrow hallway is a hidden room that seems out of place and has no reason to be here. Something about the discovery freaks them out, and they decide not to see what other secret rooms this small space holds. Instead, they go straight to the center of the house and perform some kind of ghost summoning ceremony with candles. Towards the end of the ritual, they sense a spirit slip into the room with them, and a mysterious shadow moves over them, or perhaps even through them, while at the same time the camera refuses to go back into focus. It's creepy, but I don't know why the camera person doesn't look over to get the ghost on camera. He misses the moment, so it's not exactly the best paranormal evidence ever, but the random moving shadow is pretty bizarre. And there's still one more odd encounter left. The group is soon surprised to find that the door refuses to budge, even though it's clearly unlocked. So either they are faking this movement, or else the haunted house is seriously refusing to let them leave. Just when the ghost hunters are getting anxiety and really starting to panic. A ghost slams a door in the distance, something has left the building, and the place feels abandoned once more, at least for the time being. Their door is no longer locked, and so the perplexed paranormal explorers take the hint and quietly let themselves out. They could have been pretending that the door was locked. However, the ghost orb, the moving shadow, and the ghost slamming a door is all evidence of the paranormal in my opinion. Dennis of Dark Life is about to encounter an aggressive poltergeist in the house of the witch. His cameras capture everything too. First, something starts messing with the cupboard. The demon then grows a bit more aggressive. He seems to be toying with Dennis. Dennis asks many questions of the spirit, and the spirit responds.
Вас она убила? Она сейчас здесь?
When he asks if the spirit needs help, it answers,
Я могу вам чем-нибудь помочь? Нет.
It seems to be following him.
Это вы? Вы сейчас издаете этот звук?
And the knocking gets louder.
Нет.
Again, the spirit reiterates that no one can help him.
Вам кто-нибудь может помочь? Нет.
And finally, Dennis decides that he's in danger and should leave.
Не боюсь, грозит опасность.
Да. Я сказал опасность и выдвинул да. В общем, все, друзья, я сейчас собираюсь, попрощаюсь чуть позже, когда уже уйдут.
It's clear that this malevolent spirit is taking no prisoners. If I were Dennis, I'd get out of there too. The next time you shower, don't look up. Published by Tia Bassi in March of 2022, this creepy video shows what could be the hair in your drain come to life. The clip shows a shower curtain pulled to the side, while up in the corner near the ceiling is this extraterrestrial-like critter. It looks spidery, but with even more legs than usual. It somehow also looks like a great pile of tangled hair. What do you think this is? I think it's time to throw the whole house away. Cabin. Gather around this haunted and abandoned cabin in the woods. It has some ghost stories to tell. Debbie from YouTube channel, Spectral Researchers, Spirit Talkers, shares this video of their investigation of this mysterious place. Using a Kinect device, Debbie greets her first specters.
I really would love... Oh, hello there. Hello, two of you. Well, hi. Very pleased to meet you. My name is Debbie. Please excuse my intrusion in your home.
The figures remain visible for several minutes.
I'm in your home. I just want to talk to you and let you know that you're not forgotten.
One of the figures comes and goes. The little one seems to be doing flips or something. It's all over the place.
Hello. Can you tell me what year you moved into this house?
Then they both leave, but one is coaxed back.
I saw you come back then. What were you growing in that shed? Was that you growing something?
In no other room in the house does Debbie capture any figures on the Kinect. It seems to me that they congregate here for some reason. If I had to guess, I think it's either where they passed away or is their favorite spot in the cabin. Number 30, the raptor. Did this trail cam capture an actual dinosaur on camera? TikToker Mindfunk7 shares this mysterious footage taken at night. Watch closely. It looks like a small reptilian creature running on its hind legs. TikTokers in the comments have their own wild theories. Some think it's a kangaroo, but others say kangaroos can't physically run like that. I don't know who to believe. Personally, I don't think it's any existing creature that we know. It looks straight out of Jurassic Park to me. Cue the chills. Number 2. A YouTuber named Skits comes across a man lying motionless in his car with the door wide open. They check his pulse, which is reasonable, but instead of calling the police or an ambulance, they decide to do him a solid and drive him home to the address on his registration. I mean, it's a nice gesture and all, but if this guy was having a serious medical problem and passes away on their watch, then I'm pretty sure they could be held responsible. Anyway, when they finally pull up to his house, they let themselves in using his keys and leave him in a safe spot. Just when they think they've done their good deed for the day, something completely unexpected happens.
Bobby!
Oh, go.
We were just trying to help
Go. All this poor woman sees is two strangers standing in her home over someone she knows. She probably thought they were in the middle of breaking in. They run out the door, but since they came here in someone else's car, I'm not sure where they were going, but they managed to get away. I feel like this situation could have been avoided by just knocking on the door instead of going straight inside without at least announcing themselves. The whole situation borders on the edge of being implausible. Do you think it really happened? What is this mysterious object in the sky? YouTuber Tiffany Campbell shares this footage of an object she says was falling to Earth.
Is that a plane going down?
I don't think it's a plane.
That's cool. What is that, James?
I can't even tell you, but I don't know.
Can Joey see it? Joey, look through my phone.
It's hard to tell what this object is. It doesn't appear to be falling very quickly, but that may just be an optical illusion. The streak trailing behind it suggests it's traveling at significant speed, but this could be a contrail from a plane.
Is that a plane going down?
I don't think it's a plane.
That's cool. What is that, James?
I can't even tell you, but I don't know.
Can Joey see?
Is this object even falling at all? It could just appear that way due to the perspective at which it was captured. I think it could just be a plane with a contrail, but it could also be a meteorite or some other unidentified flying object falling from the sky. What do you think? This terrifying footage was filmed in an elevator in Chile. Jose Acevedo gets on the lift and presses the button. Little does he know that this will be the ride that changes his life forever. As soon as the button is pressed, the doors violently snap shut and the elevator lurches upwards. Jose knows that something is majorly wrong and immediately presses the emergency stop button. Instead of stopping, however, the elevator climbs even faster. There's literally nothing for the man to do except repeatedly push the button, while panicking as the elevator races up 31 floors in less than 15 seconds. Finally, he begins to swat at every button. Adrenaline taking over as he desperately hopes that just one button will work and bring an end to this terrible ride. He is absolutely helpless and appears to be too scared to even scream. Unfortunately for him, the only thing stopping this elevator is the roof itself. The elevator slams into the top of the building at full speed, and inside, Jose's broken body slams against the crumpled walls. He survives somehow, but now he has severe head and leg injuries. Also, the damage to his spine means he is sadly unlikely to ever walk again. Working from home has its perks, but this might deter some. Posted to the very spooky video subreddit by External Tangents, this Redditor was home on a gloomy day when he heard some strange noises. At his door, the noise sounds like distant clicking. He opens his hallway door to investigate. Out in the hallway, you can hear whining and slamming. It sounds like it's coming from upstairs. Then as he looks up to find an outside door open, it clanks loudly. He's found the culprit. At the top of the stairs, the exit door to the roof is open. Heading out onto the roof, he finds no one there. Although the mystery is solved, some think it's odd that the exit alarm isn't blaring. They also find the sounds and visuals quite spooky. If you heard this while you were alone in your apartment, would you have the nerve to investigate? I'd be looking for a new place to live. Everyone knows seedy stuff happens under bridges, and YouTuber Last Leaf Studio found evidence of this in July of 2016, posting a video entitled, "Some Creature Creeps Under the Pedestrian Bridge in Kiev." The footage shows traffic passing by on a highway in Ukraine's capital as the cameraman is posted alongside a pedestrian walkway. Scanning the scene, the camera lands on the pedestrian bridge overhead. Look closely here. Beneath the bridge, you can see a large creature, apparently somehow holding onto the underside of this bridge, creeping across it bit by bit. You can even see its limbs move as it makes its way across. At first in darkness, the figure makes its way towards the light. A close-up of the creature reveals that this figure is distinctive. Its outline and limbs seem to be that of a human, or at least that of a humanoid creature. But what human can traverse the underbelly of a bridge like that, and why would they? The other option is that it's something with an immense amount of strength, What do you think it is? A solo exploration turns up some spiritual company in this abandoned factory. Published by Spooky Gautam in January of 2022, this ghost hunter explored the Vatican's factory on his own. As Gautam stands outside, taking the place in, a window shutter swings open. Does this foretell paranormal activity yet to come? Once inside, he is explaining his investigation of this place when the spirits make themselves known.
அதில் வந்து பார்த்திங்கன்னா சின்னதாக வந்து அந்த விண்டோலாம் அசைஞ்சுது. அது வந்து மேபி வந்து காற்றுல கூட வந்து ஆடி இருக்கலாம் அப்படி தான் நான் நினைக்கிறேன். ஆனால் வர்றப்பே வந்து எனக்கு.
As he continues on, he hears more strange sounds.
Hello?
And later steps on something. What does this mysterious claw belong to? While examining it, another banging resounds. And another louder noise is heard while in this enormous hangar. It seems like he's being followed.
Super bhaiya. Thank you.
Gautam then spies a shadow figure in a darkened window of one of the buildings. The figure walks past, barely discernible in the darkness. He later sees this figure or another up close. When he sets his camera down to go and check it out, something takes out its rage on the camera. Are these spirits camera shy, or are they sending him the message that it's time to leave? I have no idea about the date, time, or location of this video. All I know is that it's supposedly been uploaded to the deep web because the original uploader didn't want to be tracked by the federal government in retaliation for getting their story out. A large bright blue object is quietly claiming the night sky outside of an apartment complex.
What is this? What is that? It's a one angel.
After a while, the sky blob stops in place and begins to expand outwards. Whatever it is, by the end of the video, it seems to take up nearly half of the sky. If this is real, then we probably would have never known any of this had ever happened without the anonymous deep web. 3 friends know of a haunted abandoned place in Egypt that needs exploring. Little do they know how wrong their paranormal investigation will have gone by the end of that night. Fresh writing on the wall that gives them pause. It might be a warning of sorts or maybe a puzzle. They spend quite some time trying to figure it out and never manage to. What does it say? That's when they think they hear something upstairs, something that can mimic their movements. They go upstairs to confront it and hear a noise at the bottom of the steps where they just were. As they turn around, there's a wall full of handprints marking where people were trying to get away from something. At the bottom are 2 floating white eyes. They are checking out more red handprints when their paranormal investigation somehow gets even creepier. A jinn's figure fills the doorway on the top floor. They run down the steps fast, and seconds later, the slow-moving figure somehow passes by them again. Well, they are looking up where it was last spotted. With a flip of his scarf, the bravest of all sets forth to the exit and is almost touched. Here is a still image of the Jin's face taken at 9 minutes and 46 seconds. I think it might be a mask, but what if it's really a weird misshapen face? They say this is real. Should we believe them? YouTuber D-Dog Michael is back at it again, exploring this abandoned place, and he is not alone.
무슨 소리지? 뭐야? 거기 누구세요? 누구세요 거기?
After being scared to his wits' end, Michael enters another dark room and sees this. Did that hand just confront him? The mystery continues as he enters a room of mirrors.
뭔 소리야? 뭐야? 나 지금
After this terrifying encounter, he keeps on going.
누구 있어요 혹시? 혹시 누구? 와! 잠깐 본 사람 방금 본 사람.
Someone is there for sure. And that someone is stalking him.
그만이요.
Michael hears both a girl and a man in this haunted place, but are they good or evil? I think that he'd better hedge his bets because he can't be sure. Basements are where hidden secrets are kept in the dark, old memories and keepsakes of things that are too scary for the surface and would get you some strange looks. Basements often serve as a place for troubled minds to explore the scariest facets of the human imagination. A YouTuber named Jonathan Wickholm goes exploring the basement of his girlfriend's apartment building because it's creepy and old, and he suspects scary stuff is down there. He's not wrong.
So James agreed. The moment you walk in this room, it's creepy. It makes no sense. Over by James, there's a random stool and a microwave that, is it plugged in? No. Okay. So it gets weirder.
In the center of the room is a large cedarwood box. On the outside is a door that unlocks only from the outside. Sticking out the top of the mysterious nondescript box is a pipe for giving someone air, and when he opens it,
This is what it is. It is a small room with chairs. It's nothing else.
he finds a small hidden room where someone can be kept secret down here without anyone going down to find them for a long time. What was being kept down here? I fear I already know the answer.
James, look at this. James, look at this. There's scratch marks. There are legit scratch marks. There are f***ing scratch marks.
Drilled into the ceiling of the secret prison place are holes that look like they were put there for further ventilation. Ever tried to poke a thread through the eye of a needle? Well, that's basically what bus drivers do on Needles Highway in South Dakota. This video is not for the claustrophobic. Highway 87 near Rapid City, South Dakota, and Custer State Park earned its nickname due to its narrow, single-lane roads, deadly defying twists and turns, and of course, the needles, which are narrow granite tunnels that vehicles navigate. That is, if their drivers have got the guts. The tunnels were created by blasting through mountains, forming walls of sheer rock on either side. Believe it or not, some buses attempt the crazy feat of driving their big hauls through the narrow tunnels. These drivers show no fear as they prepare to undertake a Mission Impossible level task of weaving down this dangerous road while also looking out for falling rocks. Just watching makes you hold your breath in anticipation, but never fear, slowly but surely. This particular driver succeeded with only inches of room to spare on either side of the tunnel. A YouTuber named LaxRebel225 is playing a video game at home when he hears something loudly bust through the front door. He's frantically looking from room to room when finally he hears it making a racket again, this time from the kitchen. When he crosses into the kitchen, nothing is to be found. Instead, he hears it again from behind. I'm not sure why he stomps his foot here. If he's trying to scare the creature away, it doesn't work. LaxRebel does a full circle around his home and ends up standing just outside of the kitchen again. He seems to get a bad feeling and hesitates. That's when this inhuman noise fills his house. The creature seems to say something in a chittering language that almost sounds like an evil laugh. Then it leaves his home, shutting the door behind itself. Maybe I'm just overthinking, but the alien's voice sounds very high quality, like way too good for the average YouTuber to edit into their video with home equipment. As much as I don't want to admit it, I think this video could be real based on the creepy laughter alone. Still, I'd definitely like to know what you think after watching this video. I'm especially looking for the opinions of people who have experience with audio engineering. Britton Smith is hanging around her dorm room when she notices something is apparently laying in bed with her. An invisible force appears to be pressing up and down on the flowery design of her covers, right before her very eyes. I will admit that it's hard to tell if something is on top of the covers or simply underneath, in which case it could be anything and not necessarily paranormal. Britton Smith describes this as a ghost in her dorm room, but I'd like to know if you agree with her or not. TF141 Ghost goes exploring an abandoned house, one he found on a secret blog about haunted locations in his hometown. He walks slowly across a rotting floor that can barely support his weight, and apparently the floor isn't the only thing left rotting in this house.
As you can see, I mean, it's definitely abandoned. It's been abandoned for, I would say, quite some time now. Give you the grand tour of the kitchen. The tour of the abandoned house. It's kind of creepy in here, I'm gonna be honest. Check out this little door. I was really hoping I'd find something. I have no idea what the that is, so I'm not gonna touch that.
This mysterious object has been delicately wrapped in some kind of deli paper and left hanging. I have no idea what this is, but I'm afraid that it was once attached to someone.
I totally forgot there's an upstairs. Oh, these are rickety stairs. It's about 20 degrees. It's kind of weird. Oh, what's over here? There is a Bible. There's a Bible next to about 100 toys.
The way the book is facing the camera is creepy, like it was left there on purpose, perhaps to guard against some evil in this room. Maybe an exorcism on someone possessed by a demon took place here. With that in mind, what he does next is very questionable indeed.
I'm gonna grab this Bible and take it with me, because I might need it on the way out. Alright, time to go. I'm just gonna leave this here. That's really...
Hopefully, removing the book didn't freeze something from that attic space. Besides that, I wouldn't want to touch anything that was possibly used during an exorcism anyway. And on top of that, discarding the book without a care seems like really bad luck to begin with. Oh, and one more thing. More bad news, of course. I think there may have been more clues in this hole at the top of the stairs, but what was hiding in there could not have been good. I think I might even see a face. A YouTuber named QBangGuy receives a deep web mystery box with a pile of old electronics inside. He notices an outdated cassette player with headphones, so he puts them on and hears a woman saying the same thing over and over again in a different language. Listen to this part and let me know if you can translate. Something about the woman's tone sounds menacing to me, almost as if she is making a twisted prediction. If you speak the language, please let me know if I am right. Creepy lights in a dark basement, a sure sign that something in your house has gone wrong. A YouTuber named The Drum Player 101 has a quick clip of something strange caught on camera.
Lately I've been seeing and hearing weird things in my basement. Let's go check it out.
Oh.
Glowing eyes look back at them from within the darkness, and the two scared brothers run away. When they return for a second, they find it still there, a small creature low to the ground with large, unblinking eyes. They say it's a ghost, but it could be a fake video using their pet cat. I thought it was weird of them to keep their cat in the basement, in the dark, but I looked it up, and sometimes they do like curling up in small, isolated spaces. At 13 seconds, it looks like the animal is raising its head like it was taking a nap. Cat eyes can reflect a large array of colors, and blue, while not as common, is not unheard of, so I don't believe this video is real. With that said, this video of creepy eyes watching you from the darkness could help explain all of the other similar videos like it. Number 2. A YouTuber in India named Fayaz Bamizhan travels to the Kalapalli cemetery at midnight, where a humanoid shadow figure is said to haunt anyone foolish enough to come near. This is the exact moment he accidentally caught a ghost on camera, as his viewers would later point out to him. Something hangs back to watch him under the street lamps. Something strange. You can just barely see the shadow moving away if you watch down by its legs. Considering the infamous haunted graveyard is directly beside him, I think it stands to reason that this shadow is paranormal. As these dudes were wandering in the darkness, they encountered something they never expected.
Okay. You gotta go!
Climbing on the gate, it looks like a tiny extraterrestrial humanoid, and apparently it gives chase.
He's booking it! Go! Dude, go! Dude, go! Oh my gosh! Dude! He's right there! Dude, get your flash. My light's not working.
The humanoid creature is catching up to them.
Dude. Stupid. Why would you stand? We gotta go. We gotta go!
What is that? I'm not entirely sure, but let's hope it didn't get them. A YouTuber named Phoenix is alone in the woods trying to record nature sounds for an ASMR channel when everything goes wrong in the scariest way possible. A scary loud scream from deep in the woods has Phoenix running and later wondering what this unknown creature could be. No native animal makes that sound, he says, though for some reason it kind of sounds like a goose or something like that, and there's water nearby before the scream occurs, so a bird could be exactly what this mysterious creature is. Tell me if you know what kind of scream this was, and how much danger was Phoenix really in during this scary moment. A Reddit user named Never2 shared the following video hoping for some potential answers as to what his mother captured on her driveway security camera late one night. What starts off as a simple piece of home surveillance footage quickly turns into something utterly pulse-pounding, as you will soon see. Wow. So I'm just gonna pause it again once it comes on screen here. We see a couple orbs just kind of flying around, but right here, this sort of ghostly presence starts here, disappears again, completely off screen, but is gonna come back again right here and just kind of float off into the distance. I think what's especially freaky is that part right here where it's almost like the security camera glitches out and you can see it just a bit better once it does, which is just freaky to me. Kind of goes back and forth there and then it's just completely off screen to not be seen again. Just super creepy stuff. The strange figure's appearance on camera alone would be enough for some people to believe this is a paranormal entity, which is very understandable, but then again it could be explained as a camera trick. But as soon as this strange flickering happens off to the left side of the screen, it is certainly hard to pass this off as anything but a ghost. Usually ghost videos are fairly hotly debated, but the comment section on this particular Reddit post seems to be in agreement that something odd was captured on the OP's mom's home surveillance camera. Whatever it is exactly though is still uncertain. Something has crawled up this poor woman's leg and refuses to come out. Her friend almost has it by the tail, but then at the last second it does the unthinkable and burrows even deeper. The scared animal probably would have gone up way higher if she didn't stand up in time and let gravity force it back down. She is either trying not to scream or lose her lunch as her friend tries again, this time wrapping its tail around his index finger. He manages to extract a giant rat and quickly puts it back in its container. The rat looks used to being handled, and this is probably the only thing that kept it from trying to bite and scratch its way out. When you're playing peekaboo with the paranormal, it's never a game. Posted to the Ghost Video subreddit by Podcast Africa, the clip shows an urban explorer walking through an abandoned house. As he walks down the corridor, he glances in a room to his left. There's a big empty window to the room beyond, and in that window this peeks out a shadow person or a real one. The dark shadow ducks down quickly and the explorer hurries over into the next room and finds it completely empty. So who or what is playing around here? Or are they even playing? Jack Cook's son Michael has been acting strange for days, not like himself at all. He is normally a happy child, but he is visibly agitated during his birthday and seems to channel all of his anger into a single act of defiance when it comes time to blow out the candles.
Day to you. Michael, make a wish. Cheer up, big guy. Cheer up.
His father can't believe what he just witnessed and orders his son to do it again. Sure enough, Michael somehow is controlling the flames with his mind. The obvious answer is somebody is blowing out the candles off camera, but I don't hear anything. Watch the father's explanation and tell me if you think his emotions are real or simply good acting skills.
It's been a week now since Michael went into the hospital. And doctors don't know what's wrong with him.
Fearless Fox X has his bravery put to the test when a creepy stranger returns to his house for a second time in one night. Listen for the scary voice in the background.
Just looking at it, and she was like talking for herself. And she was there for like at least 10 minutes, and then she went to my brother's car and she's just saying all kinds of crazy stuff and talking to herself.
Camera in hand, he creeps up on the stranger to see what else can be caught on video for all to see.
Wow, this is creeping me out, dude. She's like shaking her head around and moving her arms like she's being possessed.
The closer he gets, the quieter the stranger becomes. The darkness grows still, tense, and he dares not turn on his light.
I'm scared.
Little eye, proud eye, proud eye. What the fuck?
He makes a bold assumption that this person is completely clueless about where he is, but the mysterious figure is more self-aware than any of us could have ever imagined.
This has no idea I'm right behind her.
Yo!
He decides to go home quick, and we never get a closer look at the mysterious figure in the darkness. This video is supposedly one of the 7 classified videotapes that were taken from government archives and leaked. Of the 7 tapes, only a few snippets have ever made it to the public, including this interesting portion. A strange, gray alien appears to be manipulating some sort of task while in captivity. According to the description, this video could have been shot as early as 1942 and as late as 1969. The footage itself looks fairly convincing, though it could simply be CGI. However, the projector sound effect on the video seems fake, so my guess is this video isn't real after all. If this video is real, then exactly what the alien is intently focusing on, how it came to be captured, and how we are able to communicate with it, if at all, remains a mystery. The Drakelow tunnels in the United Kingdom was a classified nuclear bunker that mysteriously closed down from 1993. Almost no records of this place exist, but 3 men were once buried alive in a tunnel collapse. Shadow people are said to have been seen here ever since, and the Ouija brothers do capture some strange activity on camera, like this pitch black anomaly at 8 minutes and 45 seconds for example. Is this a black spirit orb or just a wall stain?
Walk towards my voice.
And a minute earlier, they catch this passing white apparition against the wall.
Could you make yourself known?
The timing of the appearance in relation to the question is quite abnormal, but is it paranormal? I think so. A YouTuber decides to take on the Candyman challenge at home all by himself. He leaves the lights on and recites the name of the cursed urban legend 5 times. This is supposed to summon the real Candyman, a tall figure with a hook for a hand that the movies were later based on, but it doesn't work, so he decides to say the name 5 more times. A different Candyman challenge by a YouTuber named Kenny Bilski looks slightly more authentic. He waits until 3 AM to try and capture the Candyman on camera, and it all goes wrong upon reciting his name for the 5th and final time.
Candyman. 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 Candyman.
Kenny is waiting to get jumped by the hook-handed maniac himself, but nothing happens, so he bravely decides to try again.
Okay, Candyman. 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 Oh! Oh! No, 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 no! What the? Okay, I'm getting the out of here. I'm getting the
2 loud noises occur, one on the other side of the garage door followed by a second bang right beside him, and then the garage door opens. I was waiting for Candyman to be standing on the other side, but Kenny nopes out of there before we get a chance to see it for ourselves. I don't see anyone's shoes on the other side, so I'm guessing no one is there and he opened it with a remote control. But when he swings the camera around at 4 minutes and 54 seconds in the mirror, you can see the head and shoulders of a shadow figure peeking from around the corner, a possible Candyman sighting from the shadows. A famous Malaysian YouTuber caught some supremely scary moments on live stream that have left him and all of his followers really freaking out. It's just another normal night at his house, spending time with roommates, when they get an idea to see who is the bravest. They've been suspecting their house was haunted for a long time and dare each other to go room to room with the lights off. The first 2 rooms are fine, but just when it looks like this was all for nothing, some scary things are caught on camera. Standing in the corner of the room is a silent spirit that Malaysian culture refers to as A pokong, a sighting of one of these spirits, can be seen as a cry for help. They need to have someone undo their shroud so within 40 days, they can be freed from this world. With that in mind, I really don't blame him from running away instead of running forward. I don't think I would have the courage to undo its binds and withstand the rotten figure beneath. Seeing one in their own home must have been terrifying. Think you're seeing things when driving in the darkness of night? Your imagination hasn't run wild. You're not just tired. Something is in the middle of the road. Published by Yogesh Baba in January of 2017, this driver was making his bumpy way down a dirt road at night, rounding corner after corner, when he came upon a sinister figure. The drive itself is spooky, with trees all around and what looks like a roadside tombstone at one point in the journey. As the driver continues, you can see a small pale figure in the middle of the road from a distance. The driver approaches, slowing down more and more. That's when the hooded figure rises, moving out of the way without showing its face. While most in the comments doubt that this is a ghost, they're still wondering why a man is squatting at night in the middle of the road. None of this is normal. Going to medical school presents many challenges: high tuition, debt, and the occasional wild animal encounter. If you were coming up the steps and saw a Black Panther animal barreling at you, you would almost certainly run. Big mistake. It's already in motion and your panic would trigger its instincts. You're not getting far. The panther starts to go into someone's room, but something makes it think twice about going in. It probably doesn't like being cornered with one exit and chooses not to go further inside. The college in Karnataka, India went into lockdown as a result of this scary CCTV video. Yeah, I guess that would do it. I should point out that this isn't all that uncommon in schools across India, and I found some other creepy videos too. Here's a leopard at a college in Nainital. Thankfully, the only prey he finds is a car passing by, but imagine a college student looking at their feet walking along this fence. They'd never see it coming. I just hope everybody's alright. If you thought food tutorials were never scary, think again. This video, posted by YouTuber Post Content, entitled Food Tutorial, was published in August of 2019. Don't let the title fool you. You won't be learning how to bake a cake with this one. The video starts in what appears to be an abandoned home. A flashlight shines against the cinder block wall, while the man filming asks, "Do you hear that?"
Do you hear that?
The camera pans to the floor, where a box cutter lies on the ground. There are some rumbling noises and then a loud sound, after which a regular rumbling is heard, like a cell phone ringing on vibrate. The man walks down some wooden stairs onto a lower floor of the house. The vibrating sound continues.
Okay, calm down. They're in the box.
The man tells himself to calm down and says they're in the box. What's in the box or who? The viewer is left to guess. Somehow you want to know and you don't want to know at the same time. He heads towards a far room, saying if there's anything else, he'll put them in the box as well.
If there's anyone else, I'll put them in the box as well.
Things just got creepier. He wanders around this abandoned home talking to himself and exits through a doorway, which leads outside to a forested area. He wanders through the heavy shrubbery, looking for ghosts, mumbling in a whisper.
Around in the bushes trying to find a strange noise.
He then comes across a rope. He follows the rope, then it falls dark. As his flashlight returns, you can see something red on the ground, but it's hard to tell what it is. He walks further, filming the ground. Still, it's unclear what exactly he's looking for. It appears he's arrived at a shed or barn with a vehicle and some farm equipment inside. There lies a bale of hay. Leaning against the bale is a sign that simply reads, "Hungry?" Atop the hay bale appears to be a head of cauliflower. The man puts down the camera, and you see a shadow lift the cauliflower to eat. He says eating it will keep them away, then is followed by a strange monologue including a foreign language which, as some have said in the comments section, is Danish.
Men jeg er så træt. Jeg kan ikke huske en tid før jeg var i det her hus.
If this is a tutorial about anything, it's about not eating a random head of cabbage sitting atop a hay bale at night. You might lose a tooth, but the question remains, what's in the box? A YouTuber captures an apparition on his doorbell cam that somehow changes shape and color. First, it has an oversized white head with no face, then it becomes see-through to the point where you can make out the bush behind it, and then it switches to a blinding white color without getting thinner. The whole time it somewhat resembles a human in height and gait, but how? Since this is the only footage of the apparition, we may never know. A YouTuber named Tate Stein Seek is investigating an old building in Oklahoma City that was once a psychiatric institute. He claims that around 4 a.m. he experiences paranormal activity and wants to document it. This time, a black container slides across the ground on its own. Watch this part and tell me if there's any way to fake this.
Alright, did you guys just see that?
I would say that it was a rope or something tied around the container, but it happens again much closer, and I don't know how this could be faked.
Did you guys see that? Okay.
He even shows it up close, and you can see nothing is attached to it at all, and nothing special is inside, so your guess is as good as mine. You shall not pass. YouTuber 32 Jeremiah Nongtrod 2K17 captured a witch guarding a remote dirt road in the darkness of night. The witch stands in the middle of the road, unmoving for more than a minute. Just when it seems like she will never leave, she finally hobbles off and vanishes into the darkness. The guys drive forward to look for her, but she's nowhere to be found. Where did she go? And what was she doing there in the first place? Although this video has no answers, it's obvious to me that whatever that was in the road, witch, ghost, or demon, it was not to be crossed. These guys were smart to keep their distance. This video seems like just an image of a gator at the start, with its jaw wide open, staring blankly, completely motionless. But it's not a photo. That becomes clear when the camera zooms in closer to the gator's eye and it starts backing up angrily, its jaw even wider. Then it goes berserk in the tunnel, clambering towards the camera until the camera pulls away. The gator then approaches slowly, biting on a cord. After backing away again, the camera approaches the wide mouth, sharp-toothed creature once more. The eyes, the scales, the teeth. There's nothing about this that isn't chilling to the core. But what is a camera doing up close and personal down in a sewer anyway? Mike Kruger in the comments section of this video seems pretty knowledgeable on the subject. He wrote that the camera was doing a condition assessment of the storm sewer. He noted that behind the alligator, you can see the swamp. The tired gator simply clambered into the pipe to have a sewer nap, that is, until his nap was so rudely interrupted. One day, a man pulls up to a woman walking alongside her bicycle and asks if she needs help. She says no and indicates that she is living in the house nearby. Things have been strange ever since. The next day, the same man pulls all the way up her driveway and parks facing her house for a long time. He eventually backs away and drives off. The weird pattern of behavior continues for quite some time. Sometimes he would even drive by multiple times a day. Each incident was recorded by the home's CCTV system. Eventually, the man encounters her again and is told that she has a husband, but he does not give up. Now a different car shows up. Someone gets out and leaves a note asking if she would like to work for him, whatever that means. Instead of putting the note inside of the mailbox like a normal person, he spends a long time carefully hanging it from a nylon bag and stands around for almost 10 minutes before leaving. The first encounter happened in January, and the tapes stretch on well into the summer months. This man could have very well been obsessing about a woman who he had only met once or twice before. There's been no resolution as far as I know, and I'm not sure if the alleged stalking has ceased. A race car driver finds himself in one of the worst predicaments possible when the steering wheel breaks off in his hands shortly after kicking it into high gear by itself. Judging by his right leg, it doesn't look like he hit the gas at all. The only thing left to do to keep from flying into the wall is pull the emergency brake, which he grabs immediately after fumbling a moment more with the now non-existent controls. The faraway look in his eyes at the end of it all says everything. He knows exactly how much danger he was in, and that he's lucky to still be alive. Creepy videos don't get much scarier than the creature caught lurking around Anton Meyer's house. No, his house is not haunted, at least not in the traditional sense, but this scary moment will definitely haunt him for the rest of his days in South Africa. The animal control expert needs to move the snake into a cylinder containment unit on the floor, but as more and more of the creature stretches forth, I don't think it will fit. I wanted to know if this is a snouted cobra like he says it is. If so, these snakes are highly venomous and probably the absolute last species you'd want in your home, let alone in such an intimate area. Oh, and by the way, according to the description of this video, the handler accidentally lost his grip and the snake made the watery retreat back to where it came from. Hopefully it doesn't make a second appearance when they least expect it, but since cobras tend to be territorial during certain parts of the year, it's likely to return at some point. A motorcycle vlog turns paranormal when a man in India goes exploring down a long haunted cemetery road. His dash cam refuses to focus as he rides past the cemetery gates. So strong is the paranormal energy, he thinks he made a big mistake coming down here, and based on what happens next, I'd say he was right. Their lights chance upon a lone figure wearing a dress. There's no reason for anyone to be on foot out here at this hour. No flashlight or any source of light. Minutes away from a haunted cemetery. The figure is not a tree and appears to be stepping first towards and then away from them. I suppose it could be a pedestrian, but like I said, why someone would be roaming this eerie place is anyone's guess. A scary video from Albany looks like creepy things are about to happen at night, but when Mike Lice takes the camera to the window, you can see a big problem. It's the middle of the day, possibly the last for him and his family as a terrible change looms in the sky. What happens next haunts them forever. At 9:16, a tree almost connects with the side of their house. The only thing that saved them were winds blowing slightly away from their home. When so much scary stuff happens to you at once, there really is only one reaction. I'm sure they were expecting to capture some scary moments on camera, but nothing like this. Almost losing your home, whether you actually did in the end or not, is one of the scariest things imaginable. This deep web video is a collection of old horror movie scenes spliced together, most of which I can identify. There's one clip that I don't recognize though. Other people don't recognize this scene either. They even think that a psycho could have spliced a small portion of real video into a horror movie montage. This would be the perfect way to brag about what you've done without making it too obvious. Let me know if you recognize what movie this woman is from, if any. If nobody has seen this before then, as much as I hate to say it, I think this portion might be home video from a genuine psychopath. This Redditor was a skeptic at first, but when he captured this video, he was transformed. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Notorious Meseros writes, I heard noises in the garage. I was Snapchatting my fiance who was at work about it. My fiance said it's a ghost, and I was an on the fence believer until this. The footage shows a garage full of stuff. Just as the Redditor is saying he's not sure if he believes in ghosts, something large and heavy falls from a shelf. Some in the comments point out that the object rotates curiously first.
Ghosts. I'm not sure if I even believe anymore. But yo, okay.
Before falling, others think a rodent could have knocked it over or some other critter, and still others think that this dude needs to clean his garage. Is that what the ghost is rudely suggesting here? I guess that's still better than dealing with a poltergeist. A person in Ukraine was filming a calm river one evening just in time to capture a humanoid-looking creature cross underneath of a bridge using all fours. As the footage shows, something is grabbing onto the underside of a bridge and silently making its way across. Exactly what the creature is remains a debate online to this day. Some people have pointed out that this could be a human, but others have noticed how its legs and arms appear to be the exact same length. It almost looks like it could be an animal, but I'm not aware of any animal from this region that likes to hang upside down from bridges. Besides, if someone had to go underneath a bridge like that for whatever reason, then they would either hang from their arms or else hug the bridge tightly while creeping across. This thing, on the other hand, just swings across the bottom like it's no big deal. Human or not, this thing definitely has a very bizarre center of gravity as it moves. An invisible force has taken this man by the scruff of his neck, published in December of 2019. At the beginning of the video, the cameraman and another man off screen are yelling at each other.
你打鸡巴电话你啊！你打啥电话？你给我过来！我靠！你给我过来！
At a distance, a short figure in white appears to be standing in a dark doorway. Its features are indistinguishable. The two continue yelling at each other until the cameraman turns around and starts running away from the figure in the doorway. As he does, the friend who was yelling is captured on camera holding a flashlight, but suddenly he is thrown to the ground, and as if a mysterious invisible force is acting upon him, the man is dragged away. The cameraman runs toward him to help, and it appears as if he is thrown to the ground too. Mayhem ensues as they both try to fight it off. They finally manage to break away and they start hurrying off, but the cameraman doesn't get far. He is thrown to the ground and dragged again through the ice and snow. He struggles with the force before being pulled, this time into a room. He manages to escape and run away, and when he turns to look back, there's a small figure in the doorway again. What is this force? Where was it taking him? He'd better leave now, or it might just get him this time. Sidestep Adventures is surprised to actually find what he's been looking for out in the Georgia woods.
You stepped on it? Oh wow. There it is.
Another person's grave. They carefully reassemble it and respectfully read her name out loud.
Yep, there it is. Sacred to the memory of Mrs. Jane. And died November 3rd, 1843.
Under the heavy marker, they find a crushed bouquet of flowers left by a loved one. The petals are in excellent condition and largely retain their color. Finding fresh flowers under a more than 100-year-old grave is already weird enough, but then Sidestep Adventures reads more and realizes who this Mrs. Jane is to him.
Stacy Duckworth and Samuel were my great-great-great-grandparents. So she was actually a half-sister to my great-great-grandfather.
So let's recap. He literally stumbles across an extremely concealed grave in the middle of the woods. Fresh flowers are underneath despite the grave being from 1843. Then he discovers it's a long-lost relative and has to admit that this seems like it could be fate.
Well, we did find it somehow. I tell you, if you hadn't stepped on it, we wouldn't have.
It's almost as if the spirit of his ancestor was waiting to be found. These friends are staying at a hotel when they see flashing lights coming from the bathroom mirror and hear rumbling noises on the other side. It sounds like a classic haunted hotel setting at first, but when they take the bathroom mirror and flip it around, they see two holes that look to me like someone was spying on them.
Scratches here and here that you can see directly through the mirror. Directly through.
But this situation gets way more intense than just a peephole. Much to their surprise and horror, there was also a rectangular hole cut into the wall leading directly into the next room over. Whoever cut this hole could literally climb through the wall anytime they wanted to, day or night. They could silently watch the group in the mirror to know when they were leaving, then climb through to mess with their stuff, or worse still, they would know when you were about to go to bed, and could enter while they were all asleep to do who knows what. I don't know how any of this ended, but I do know their lives could have been at risk if they didn't discover this in time. I think this situation is real, because I don't think they would destroy a hotel wall just to make a video. Hopefully they called the police and caught whoever invaded their privacy. Sonny Deeds and his friend CJ venture onto this abandoned military base and its haunted trail. First they hear what they think are voices.
Yeah, what the... yes. I don't know. That's what caught my attention.
Was that voices? Because when you turned around and were looking back that way, I was doing the same thing. I heard whatever you heard.
A little further down the path, again, they hear something.
Oh, is that you making noise behind us?
No, I was talking, but I wasn't making any noise. What'd you hear?
Sounds like
And then they feel something.
Yeah, we're almost back to back. What the is that? What?
Sonny sees something, and in the background, you can hear what sounds like growling.
Oh, dude. No, there is some. I don't know if somebody's trying to, but it's not. But there's somebody across the road.
Just keep on walking. There's something in the left of the wood.
Then they hear footsteps, and then a strange growling noise.
Dude, I hear somebody walking, and it's not our freaking footsteps.
Okay, good. Definitely keep on.
And finally, this sends them running.
Yeah, it's just weird, dude. It's weird out here. Just the whole history of everything. Like I said, it's supposed to be. What?
Oh my God!
I can't see. see.
Something cracked in the forest, and as Sunny turns left, you can see some strange lights there. Watch it again.
Oh, damn.
Did you see them? I think they may be lights from whoever is following the guys, or maybe they're just reflectors on some fences. It's hard to tell, but the noises are a sure thing, and they're unsettling. When your home is occupied by shadow figures, it's probably time to move out. Redditor Bianca5150 set up a security camera to try and catch which one of her dogs was doing damage in her home. She received a notification alerting her to movement, and when she checked the footage, she found this. Did you see the shadow figure? Most in the comments think she should get out now, and I tend to agree. If we're to believe that no one was really home, this is one of the best pieces of shadow figure footage that I've ever seen. Don't look behind you. This scary video is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community. After witnessing something terrifying, this man flees to his car, but that something is there waiting for him. The creepy video, originally posted to TikTok by elkakoi.tv, also reveals what initially scared the man. But as we already know how it ends, the man clearly has nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. If I were him, I'd be getting the heck out of that house ASAP. What are you afraid of? What can really make you scream? This entry was submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The user explains that the clip was found on TikTok. Footage shows a guy sleeping at 1:16 in the morning with the text, "He snores so loud." According to the video, the next night is shown subsequently. This time, the man is sleeping in a very awkward position, with his arms up in the air. Even stranger, the drawer from the bedside table appears to open of its own accord. A short time later, the man is in a new position, and as he turns over, if you focus on the nightstand, a bottle slides strangely sideways, falling on the floor. The man appears to be suffering from some evil spirit being exorcised, as his body contorts aggressively on the bed.
I don't know, this guy's just being an asshole. He won't shut. Stop. Hey, what the f?
Whoever is taking the video leaves the room, and when he returns, the sleeping man is kneeling in the corner. What's going on here? It is suggested could just be night terrors. Others lean more towards the paranormal, however. They suggest the man is possessed. What do you think? Paranormal activity? Possession? It is certainly baffling, and I think we need more footage to fully solve this mystery. Time you perform for your TikTok audience. Make sure only those online are watching. Uploaded by TikToker Spooky Zen and re-uploaded by YouTube channel Kisa Kahidipan. This video is trending in the Indonesian-speaking YouTube community. Keep an eye on the top of the staircase behind the dancer. A creepy head is hanging over the top stair the entire time, but the TikToker only noticed when it moves at the end of the clip. Who or what is watching her? Is it a demon stalker or a live one? I, for one, don't want to find out. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.